This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow. And my pants and my shirt even say Man of Tomorrow on it.
They do.
It's pretty cool. I got a full house with me today. Sadly, that man in red, that bearded, jolly fellow, is not here with us. He's out saving the world, fighting crime. So I had to ask some people to step in. You may be hearing some voices you've heard before, or maybe not. But first, let me introduce the greatest sidekick of all time, my partner, my better half, the lovely Junia. Hi, Ju.
Hi, babe.
She is joining us today. I have the man from slightly up north, Mr. Brad.
Otherwise known as Sutargos, the kaiju from Krypton. Gotta do my intro.
Yeah, you do.
Love it.
I'll let you do it because you do it so much better. And then we have returning guest, Logan from Single Bound. What's up, man?
I'm doing good. I was the Superman. I was Superman Plaid a few episodes ago.
Yeah, you were.
Superman Plaid.
Yeah, we had a whole fun run on that little speech.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So today, fellas, we're talking about Superman artists, but we're also just talking about art in general. And comics are a visual medium. But as we talk about the artists and stuff, we talk about what we like, what we don't like, and just stuff like that. Like, how many times have you read a book where you're really excited because of the writer and the story, but then the art just takes you out of the story? Or there's something to the art where the story is really heavy or serious, but the art is too playful. And I think that's a huge choice when you're pairing creative teams, is finding art that matches the story.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Like how last year or this year, I was reading the Universal Studios Mummy comic book from Skybound.
Yes.
And the art was very young adult, which I didn't mind and stuff, but it didn't necessarily go with the story.
And then, okay, on that same page, the Dracula stuff, I think, was a little too abstract.
Oh, yeah, like I was having a hard time understanding what was going on.
And you got to find a happy medium, and it's not always going to work for everyone. So the goal is, as we go through these artists, pick, up to 3 that's kind of your personal favorites. It's not a guarantee like these are my 3 or not, but like what are 3 that you really identify with or you really like something about it? If you want to, Juju, there's paper and pens if you need to write stuff down. And Junia, why don't you tell everyone like your little bit of history with art and why you said you wanted to be part of this episode?
Oh, no, I'm really into art in general, and I think comic book art is absolutely amazing and beautiful. I love the different interpretations that are out there, but my history with it really, I think, just goes back to a love that I learned from my family. My grandma was a professional artist growing up, and she used to do like graphic design for like old magazines and stuff like that. So she would and she also tried to get into like the Hallmark card industry. So she has a bunch of like art around where she would do up like cartoons and things like that for the cards.
She did instructional manuals.
Yeah. Like
for the Zenith, was it Zenith or RCA?
RCA.
TV company that used to be in Circleville.
Oh, wow.
So like she would sketch, the products and the pieces and stuff inside.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So grandma, she was doing that stuff all the time. And I just grew up watching her, do art. And then she also kind of like taught me some of her ways. And I feel a little bit of an artist myself. So I dabble in that. And
Junia is quite talented. She's done some recent sketches and stuff. We'll sit there and watch TV and she'll start sketching some things. She did a beautiful, very winter Yule deer and just scenery for the window at her where she works and everything, or where you work, however you want to word it.
Yeah, they told me to keep it up until winter's done.
Yeah. So don't let her play it down, but she has an eye for art, and it's something we've always discussed. So when I was making up my list because I have my podcast planned until 2030. She said she would be in on this one. And so I was like, sweet. I didn't have to beg her, So we got to start. And I'm doing this because I had a technical problem. Okay. So bear with me. I'm bouncing between two different computers. I have the one for those who might be watching on YouTube to see both of you guys have copies of the little PDF reference. So you guys, if you need to pull those up, you have those, or you can use the screen. But if we're going to start talking about Superman, we have to talk about where it all began with Mr. Joe Shuster. So, and another thing is the way I tried to structure this, and I know I want to say this, like Logan pointed out, we had a little chat earlier. I tried to get there's always going to be artists that I miss, and I apologize. For those that I do miss. If there's one that you're a fan of anyone and you're like, why didn't you put this one? Please send us an email, kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. I cross-referenced, different lists of people's favorites and tried to just kind of boil it down to what I have, and tried to pull stuff that's more current too, to give us a bigger sample. But we have to start with Joe. And it's neat to see how art has changed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Over time. Because you think about the history of comics, how comic books weren't a thing yet. We had the comic strip, the dailies in the newspaper, and how Joe's art really was that. It was, the comic strip and how it advanced. And how, if you look at the way he did Superman, he's a very average-looking guy. And it always with the squinted eyes when he's Superman too. Comments? Anybody?
Well, I absolutely love that the middle design for the Golden Age costume. I absolutely love that. I love what kind of sandals are those called? Herculean sandals, Roman sandals or something like that.
I saw a drawing the other day someone did where it was Superman in his costume, but he had taken his boots off. Mm-hmm. And what was under his boots were that, because in Action Comics #1, how there's the scene of it's blue boots and it's the Herculean looking sandals thing. The artist, I don't remember who did it, but it was the idea that that's what he wore under his boots.
Ooh, I like that.
Kind of like his socks. And I thought that was kind of a cool way of pulling it together.
Well, it's important to note Action Comics #1 was not written to be published in the form that it eventually took. It was written to be comic strips.
That's right.
And something that a lot of people, there's a lot of arguing over what's the original Superman costume, because it's very inconsistent in that first issue. Sometimes it's like a police badge design. Sometimes it's the triangle that it would end up being. Sometimes it swings like a necklace, the symbol on the chest. And then the boots are in the same boat. Sometimes they're just blue. Sometimes they're the kind of sandals. Sometimes they're more what he would traditionally end up, and they change from page to page.
You look at the history, like you said, it was written to be strips. They were trying to sell it as a daily strip.
But I'll tell you, I think the thing that made Joe Shuster one of a kind, and the thing that made Superman as big a hit as it was, is I don't think that anybody in the era that he lived did kinetic motion and action as well as Joe Shuster did it. I mean, he just absolutely, if you go through those early Action Comics and Superman issues, you can just watch the energy move from page to page. And he's
definitely.
Yeah, he's the first artist I know of where he used the energy and motion of the character to direct your eye to how you're supposed to read the comic. So if you look, Superman moves in the direction of the next panel you're supposed to look at. Just, instinctive stuff that was so far ahead of everybody else at the time. He really, in a lot of ways, I don't think gets enough credit because while comic books existed before Joe as anthologies or, combinations of comic strips, I think after Joe Shuster does Superman, he kind of invents the particularly Superman in 1939. That's when you really get, all right, we need a whole book of just this guy. I don't think that can be overstated.
I think Schuster is an unsung hero in so many ways. If you guys have ever read Superboys, the story of it's one of my favorite books about Jerry and Joe that I've read. He lived more tragic. It's a sad story that he fell first for Joan, but it was Jerry who would go on to marry her.
Oh, wow.
And she was the model that they hired that came in was the reference for Lois Lane.
Gotcha.
Joanne. That's why Lois Lane's middle name's Joanne. And it's sad, but Joe also had diminishing eyesight too. And the older he got, the closer he had to be to the paper. But he does not get, and I love that, I put this on here, the great Superman breaking the chains here, because I love that that's part of the DC logo now.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Because, without Superman, we're not getting DC Comics, what becomes DC Comics and everything. And I love that the Schuster Superman is what's being represented on the big screen every time we see a DC property now.
Well, and Warner Brothers really, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, there's a famous story about Joe Shuster was not invited to the New York premiere of the Christopher Reeve Superman movie.
Really?
And he stood out on the picket line in the cold outside of the red carpet just so he could watch it.
What in the world?
Neil Adams told that story on a podcast. And to Joe Shuster, he wasn't at the time salty about it at all. He was just so excited that he could stand in 20-degree weather and watch all these famous celebrities be that excited about Superman.
Like I said, we could go into a whole history on Siegel and Schuster. They got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Schuster more than Siegel. And a lot of it's because Schuster doesn't have any children. Siegel's daughter and his grandchildren are very much still active with the whole thing.
Still trying to regain the rights and everything, too.
All right. The legendary Kurt Swan.
Wait. Before we move on from Schuster, I just want to say my favorite, for anybody, I thought I would do this on some of them. I don't have them for every artist, but for anybody who hears an artist in this episode and they're like, oh, I want to try this guy. I've tried to get my favorite issue for as many of these artists as we could. For Joe Shuster, I recommend Superman number 4.
Okay.
1939.
This is why I call Logan in. He's got the Wikipedia. If I'm like, man, I'm stuck on something. This is why we have him. It just elevates the show. It makes it sound more scholarly.
I think at my size and weight, it's more like a Wikipedia.
I like what you did there.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'd like to say too before we go on there is the middle picture, which is like the concept art, which sometimes is used, sometimes isn't. That is like my preferred design for Golden Age Superman. Complete with the arches and that badge logo. I love that design.
I want to say, I didn't think about this till just now, Junia, but what was her daughter wearing when she went to bed?
Yeah, she was wearing the Schuster.
She was wearing my, I have an extra, she wears as a nightgown, t-shirt of that, Brad, of the Schuster Golden Age, you just like badge shirt. That's what she's wearing.
There's also one more thing I forgot to show you guys.
Hey,
the wallet?
Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Hey, he's going to one-up me?
This is my wallet.
No way!
Dang it.
That's funny. And I was like, hey, guess what?
Where's my wallet? No, my wallet's actually Action Comics #1. Sayla actually bought it for me.
I was debating on that. But I was like, afraid, is everybody going to get the reference or not?
Did we all buy it at the Superman Museum?
No, I got mine on Amazon back in 2022 or 2023.
Sayla got her Christmas money. Okay, her Christmas money.
Last year,
yeah. And she went online and she gave me the cash to put in my bank account so she could buy some stuff. And she's like, Daddy, I'm buying you something. You can't argue with me. I said, baby, you can save your money. She's like, no, I'm buying this for you. And she picked it out and she ordered it and she bought it for me. So I can't complain about it. Not that I would, but I don't want her to use her money, on me. But she was like, no. So you don't argue with that girl. But no. Kurt Swan.
As the mug rotates.
When I think of Kurt Swan, I definitely think Silver Age.
Oh, 100%.
That middle photo I chose because I actually have a framed, old newspaper one shot of that image that my mother-in-law gave me one year for Christmas on the wall behind us. See?
Yes.
Yeah. So I picked that one. But one thing I always loved about Kurt Swan's Superman was he still had, he was larger than life, but that barrel chested, that big, broad, just booming, and then Bruce Timm just kind of took that to the next zeitgeist. But I mean, what I love about Swan's Superman too is there's a sternness, but a softness in his face.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And the face for Kurt Swan was basically the face. I'm sorry. Kurt Swan's Superman was the face of Superman, no matter what, from the 50s to the 70s, to the point where a certain artist we'll be getting to later had their face removed, erased, to make it look more like Kurt Swan's art.
Yeah. Al Plastino actually is the one that drew those faces over Kirby, but he definitely was trying to make it look. I mean, it was the Swan style Superman. You said when you hear Kurt Swan, you think Silver Age, and that's true. But honestly, to me, when I hear Kurt Swan, I think Superman, and when I hear Superman artist, even though later we're going to do our top three, and Kurt didn't make mine, but when you say Superman artist, I think me and a lot of other people think Kurt Swan. Like he just is.
Would you say that he had the longest tenure?
Yes, 100%. 100%. That's like 20 years.
I'm just
or more.
That depends on if you measure it in length of time or number of issues. Because actually, I think Dan Jurgens might have passed him up.
We'll get to Dan Jurgens. We'll get there. We'll get to the legend.
Dan Jurgens is 87 to modern day.
Oh, for a minute, I thought you were saying he was like 87. I'm like, dang. He looked good when I saw him in 2023.
You're like,
no. Go, clean Midwestern living.
But I was thinking, because Kurt, during his time, drew Superman consistent. We're talking about Jurgens, he won't draw for a while, but then he'll pop up with a book was written and drawn by Jurgens. Junia here.
No, I actually am really admiring that middle picture that you were talking about because I love the color. I love the you said the softness in his face, and I really love the softness that's there. And the first words that hit me were bigger than life as well as soon as I saw it. So I feel like he's impressive. I even love the first one here where you see Clark is kind of below Superman. I feel like that kind of gives a juxtaposition between the two sides of the character. And Clark is looking a little bit more meek and small in that image to me, and then Superman is just an amplified version of him, and I really like that. I like that he almost makes Superman look bigger.
And we actually don't have any images here because there's kind of two tiers to Kurt Swan's careers. All of these are 60s era Kurt Swan. I think this one on the far right might be from the 50s, but when you get into the 70s and guys like Neil Adams come into the bullpen, you can see it light a fire under Kurt Swan, and everything goes up a level. If you ever get a chance to look at the art from Kryptonite Nevermore, from Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember his face, something with the face looked a little bit more detailed when Kurt was on Kryptonite Nevermore.
He grows up... Interestingly, I don't like the design of Superman that he does as much then, because it's more of the Neil Adams slimmer Superman that Christopher Reeve, embodies the best. Kind of that basketball player build. I very much prefer, as far as design, his older kind of John Wayne Superman. But
that's a good way of describing it. Yeah.
You can't deny that when you see that art from the 70s. It's it's like the old man in the room just wanted to remind everybody, "Hey, I'm the best."
That makes me want to talk to my dad now. Hey, Dad, guess what? John Wayne Superman.
John Wayne Superman.
My Kurt Swan issue. Before we move on, for those of you that
what you got
is Action Comics number 484. That is the marriage of the Earth 2 Golden Age Superman to Lois Lane.
Interesting.
That is just a comic that I recommend to everybody wholeheartedly. It's the first time Superman ever had his identity revealed to Lois permanently. First time they got married. It is a gorgeous issue from start to finish. Everybody should check it out.
All right.
And a few things I want to say about Kurt myself here is he's what I think of when it comes to Silver Age Superman art. I love the way how like I said, the broadness, the chest, the build and everything, it's different. It's goofy, but kind of. But at the same time, I love goofy Silver Age art. And as you can see, for my Kurt Swan Superman shirt, probably my favorite Kurt Swan cover ever. I would have to double check. And it's just, I always love that design. And I really want to get that DC Direct they did of the Kurt Swan Superman, because while I like what McFarlane did, he doesn't have the Superman ant head. It's got the Superman ant head. And one other thing to add real fast before going there. No, I try to do at least get one comic of a certain artist I like.
Mm-hmm.
If it's affordable. It's affordable. Thank God for facsimiles. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. But I just randomly picked up one at my comic book shop years ago. It had an imaginary cover on there too. It was what if Lex Luthor was actually Jor-El and stuff, right?
Ooh.
But what I didn't realize when I opened it up, I'm like, oh my God, this is a JFK issue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm like, oh, heck yeah.
And it came out, if I remember correctly, that comic ended up coming out after JFK died.
Yes, it was originally supposed to come out, but then the assassination happened. They're like, we got delayed this a lot.
Dang, assassinations.
It's a good issue, though. Grant Morrison actually brought that issue back into continuity with the first page of his Superman not Superman versus the Elite, Superman and the Authority comic that he just did. Has a moment where Superman has remembers when he accidentally time traveled back and met JFK.
That's awesome.
Issue back into continuity. Yeah.
I remember seeing that and be like, oh, I was like, this is Morrison, this is a callback to something, because that's just how he writes. But now we're going to jump. Like I said, there's no order to this because I was just making this as I was going.
And the mug shifts.
You're making me really. That's my main coffee mug. You're making me really want to go get it.
Same here. I don't drink coffee, but this is my main mug for anything.
My wife keeps eating soup out of it with a spoon. I'm like, you're gonna scrape the logo off the bottom.
Hey, mine's already chipping away a little bit. So
I know. It's stooped.
I got one that's cool. It's Clark running into a phone booth, but then when you pour hot liquid in it,
I love those type of mugs.
That's amazing.
So the next artist we have is John Byrne. And something happened in the 80s, Junia. It was called Schwarzenegger.
I was just thinking that, yes.
And this is the Schwarzenegger Superman.
I knew it.
And I really love just the image and how there's very much this V triangle with Superman in that first shot, Mm-hmm. But this is the chiseled, muscular. I mean, this is a Superman we kind of roll with for a while that other artists, kind of have to piggyback on. And I don't not like this Superman. And I'm looking at it as Superman in art because I have a lot of more issues with the way he did Clark, because in the story and the drawings, because he made Clark too cool of a dude. But
he makes Clark. He kind of reverts to the George Reeves Clark, was what he really wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's the characterization that he goes with.
Right.
So this this Superman, this is iconic.
Oh, 100%.
You're pulling, you're pulling this all from that Man of Steel issue and everything, but this is one of those type of images that people, like you were saying, see and think Superman. And even though I think that even though there's other drawings of Superman, people kind of in their mind have this idea.
Yep, 100%.
I think this is, other than Joe Shuster, this is the most influential pass on Superman any artist ever had. The John Byrne version of Superman, the length of the cape, the width of the chest emblem, the physique of Superman, it dominates the character for 20 years after this.
I would almost say even more as we get more, like, let's keep this kind of in your mind as we kind of continue, because I think we will see a similar style continue.
Right.
And there's one coming up that I'll mention that I think has a lot more pop culture, and we don't have to keep talking about Byrne because I swear we've probably talked about Byrne for all.
Well,
what issue you got, Logan?
One thing I would. Oh, sorry, Logan. Since you.
No, you're good, Brad. Go ahead and make your comment. I just know that Logan's probably got his issue ready.
I absolutely love that image to the left. It is when I think of Superman, that's the image I think of.
It's the flying, the arms out, and the smile.
Exactly. That and it's been said his facial design has been very much influenced by Christopher Reeve, which I could see, also can't see at the same time. If you know what I mean? You can tell, but not.
Yeah, it's enough there that you're like, yeah, okay. But it's not like, say, another artist that we'll talk about where you're like, all right, dude, calm down.
But now here's my question to you guys. So Byrne is still in the industry today. His art style has changed a bit since then. What do you think of his art style now as opposed to this? Do you prefer the newer Byrne style or the classic?
I have not seen enough of his new style to comment.
The only one I could think of is when Gail Simone had a run. I remember it had an issue with Black Adam in it. And the later issue had the Spectre. I can't remember. But his art style changed where you could still see it's his, but I feel like it's not as good as it used to be.
Well,
Sir?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, what changed is that during this time period, he didn't have the clout that he would later have. And right after this, around the time he's working on Wonder Woman, in the first part of the 90s, Byrne starts demanding that he gets to ink himself. When you're looking at this is Byrne with inks by Dick Giordano, who is himself an art legend at DC Comics.
Yeah, he is.
So the reason Byrne's art gets all flat and weird is because, and if you talk about John Byrne long enough, you'll eventually get to how out of control his ego is.
Oh yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Yeah. That's why I was like, we're just not going to talk about Byrne more than we need to. And I think
that's what happened to his art. Is during this point, you're seeing him collaborating with some of the other great artists of the time, and then later in his career, his ego got so big, he could only let himself do it, and it gets worse.
Right.
And
I think wasn't the point where what's the word, peaked and then went straight down is when the point of his career where it went down, I believe is when Spider-Man Chapter 1 happened, because that's why I always hear they viewed Byrne as hell, he's the fix-it guy, he can make the origin great, and look what he did with Man of Steel. And Spider-Man Chapter 1 I haven't read though, but I'm told it's a terrible book.
Yeah, it's rough. To me, the flashpoint for Byrne is his West Coast Avengers run. That's if you look at that, that's the one where at one point Scarlet Witch has babies for hands.
Ooh.
And not very well drawn. That to me is where Byrne, it goes through, and he's not terrible. He never gets to Frank Miller levels.
Yeah, I was not going to mention him, but yeah.
You can see the point in which Byrne realizes I can pretty much draw it. Like, all of his characters start to look like the same guy in different outfits because he just knows he just doesn't have to put, or he's burned out. You know, it's hard to tell.
Nice pun.
I would go with burned out, but the next one is.
Wait. Sorry, one other thing I forgot to mention. Okay. Sorry. With the way his new art looks now, I feel like his art doesn't look as well with today's color palettes or color schemes or whatever you want to call it. Because, like, I don't know the exact term for it. It's like you see his art back like the 80s and 90s. Like, it looks great, but then you do like the modern coloring. What's the word we're looking for? Color schemes.
Well,
color palettes.
It might be that he's just not using more of the modern tech. He's still doing it the old way, or even like he's older, so he's doing it the old way. It's just not printing, or something like that on the back end,
Yeah, well, and of course, digital coloring and
digital coloring. I think that's what
coloring.
It was.
Digital coloring and pen and ink coloring are two completely different skill sets, and I think you see a lot of older artists. Of course, he didn't color. That also gets into the ego thing, though. Of like he didn't really color any of his stuff, even other than like stuff he uploads to his page. So when you're looking at here, this coloring, this is the best at DC getting to help him. Whereas now, when Byrne puts something up online, you're just seeing like what him and Apple Pen can scratch out.
Yeah, Apple Pen.
I'm learning a lot about Byrne today.
Thanks. Before we move on, favorite Byrne issue, Man of Steel, number 5, his introduction of Bizarro, one of my top 5 favorite single issues of a comic ever, one of the comics that inspired me to have a podcast about single issues of comics.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you ever meet an alien who's never read a Superman comic, this is the one that you give them. It has all of the notes of every Superman story in one succinct 24-page zip.
That's what I'm going to do if I meet an alien. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Not like
exactly what I would do.
First thing I'm going to do if I meet an alien is, can you give me powers?
What have you been hosting this podcast for 10 years? If the first thing you would do is not give them a Superman comic,
that's my second. That's my second. My first thing is, can you give me powers? Because then I can be like Superman, or I'd end up being like Jimmy Olsen and turn into a turtle. But whatever.
Maybe you bribe him with the comic first. And then he's so appreciative.
That's the key. So the next one needs no introduction. I almost threw up his, 7-year-old drawing on here for fun, but
hey, that's like the perfect way to show like how much he evolved. Like,
I use that
encourage your kids to be artists.
I use that in school to just kind of talk about like when I was subbing one time for art, just about not giving up. Is like just keep working on your skill, and what you're good at.
I do the same thing with the kids at work too. I like show them like because like one of the kids we had at my daycare, he's like 10 or 11. He's really really good at art and stuff, and I keep on telling him like go to an art college, go to the art college. And one of the things I showed him was Alex Ross, his original drawing, how he is now.
Right.
It's just. Alex Ross's style is photorealistic in painting. One book I want to reread and cover on the podcast we've never done was his Justice.
Ooh, I love Justice.
So that's going to come up here. I haven't read it in a very, very long time.
Same here.
But I mean, he has his models, his references. He always does his Alex Ross. The thing is. Him and like another artist we'll talk about, that is their Superman. Like anytime they do Superman, they do their Superman. And I mean, it looks real. The cloth, the color, like I love the Krypton exploding. The shirt rip. He uses model references.
Yep.
And he draws it and paints. Junia, comments on Alex Ross.
The saturation of color just gets me with it. From the skin tone to the suits to just all of it is just absolutely, it's dynamic is what it is. All of it's extremely dynamic. Even the textures that he gives in I mean, gosh, the neck. His neck in that shirt rip is just insane.
The shirt rip, I can look away, then look back and have to do a double take to make sure I'm not looking at a photo.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. I don't think, and of course you guys can correct me because you guys are more experts at this than I am, but I don't think that there's anybody out there that does art like Alex Ross does in the comics.
100%. I was actually just going to say that, like, his art is unlike any other comic book artist out there. I mean, yes, we've seen, like, other artists who do some, like, paintings before, but I know we're going to see a few later on here. And I know there's that one guy, he did the character designs for Iron Man for the MCU, as well as
Artie Gronov.
Thank you. What you said, I don't remember. That was a name always for me. AA, I think, or AG. We'll just say AG. He's like good, but like Ross is just like, no pun intended, like something out of a different planet, like out of this world.
Yeah.
The thing
And he's a very nice dude too. Like I met him back in 2015, 2016 when he was doing something for like an art display in Chicago. Very nice dude. Very cool.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I think one of the big things that I see with all of his work, not just with Superman, but just in general, like he always finds the light. He always like has the characters finding the light, and there's just something special about the way that he uses light in all of his pictures. So I love it.
So what are your guys like favorites? What do you think is the best Ross issue he's done art wise?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. My timer for tell the kids to go to bed went off. My bad.
It's all right. And let me
for
hear
me,
your question
like
one more time, brother.
Oh, sure, no problem. With Ross's various works with Superman, doing interior art, not cover art, but like interior art, what is your favorite of his? For me, I think his work on Justice is his best work. You get to see like all those Silver Age designs done in his art style. You get to see like all these characters like colliding with each other, and the coloring, the lighting, and everything looks so freaking cool.
Yeah, I spoil. Well, I can go ahead and tell you. I think his best work is Justice issue number 4.
Oh.
That was the one that I picked for Alex Ross for this one. And
is that the one where like all the various Superman villains gang up on Superman?
Yeah, Solomon Grundy, Bizarro, and I think Grodd gang up on Superman.
Metallo's in there because I remember that. And I'm pretty sure Parasite's there, too. He does a very interesting design for Parasite, too.
Yes, he does.
He does. Inspired by, we'll get to Al Plastino later, but very much referencing Al Plastino's original design in vivid detail. But yeah, Justice number 4 is probably just because I'm a huge Super Friends fan, and Justice is the Super Friends as a... with Alex Ross doing the inks. I think Jim Kruger does the pencils in that one.
So I got the Justice trade in the 3 volumes. I was trying to...
Just what I mean about the light.
Yeah. So I went and grabbed it off the shelves.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his cover work on there is cool, too.
And Kingdom Come can't be overstated.
Oh, no, definitely. And Marvels. Let's not forget Marvels.
Yeah, I bought Marvels when they... See, Junia is pointing out to me in the book about how he finds the light and utilizes the light in the... Yeah, you know what, guys? I'm going to just... We'll probably, before the year's up, we'll end up reading this book, guys. So...
Say when.
Yeah, we'll throw that on here. But yeah, that's beautiful.
I feel like that comic is super underrated. I think a lot of people
read it
100%. Because the schedule was so delayed.
I'm going to share a quick story about this one. So the book you're holding, I bought the day I met you.
Aww, that's cute.
Because it was the bookstore in the mall had buy 2 trades, get 1 free. I bought Justice number 1. They didn't have number 2. I bought Kingdom Come, and I bought which I bought it more for the art, was the Jim Lee and Frank Miller Batman.
All-Star Batman.
All-Star Batman, yeah. And then I had to track down book 2 and order book 3. But yeah,
Nice.
a little behind the scenes there on Junia and I's relationship. But
Oh, that's cute.
all right, number 3 or number 4, wherever we're at.
Funny how you just mentioned Jim Lee.
Yeah. So Jim Lee. I picked the images that I picked for a certain reason. First of all, Jim Lee, we could stay here and talk all day, revolutionized, I think, comics in a way and brought a detail, because there's always the inside joke about, drawing the tread on Batman's boot. But what I picked out, that Action Comics 1000 issue in the middle, I think the cape is atrocious.
I don't like the shade of blue he used.
I think it was interesting that they put Superman back in the trunks.
Oh, I was so happy when
they left the cuffs on his suit, which I thought was cool. But I think that cape looks extremely flat, and it almost feels like Jim phoned in the cape.
Yeah,
I tried to pick more traditional Superman for Jim Lee instead of picking of course he did the first sketches for New 52 and for Rebirth. But once again, his Superman is great, yes, but it's very much in that burn body style.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, like that physique style kind of stays there, and now it's just kind of his take on that. Not putting Jim Lee down. He can draw circles. I mean, he could draw stick figures better than I can. He could draw a circle better than I can. He can draw a straight line better than I can.
He can draw a dot better.
He can have no legs or no arms and use his mouth and draw better.
I'm going to push back on that, though. I don't think if you put a gun to Jim Lee's head, he couldn't draw a straight line.
So what you're saying is I have a chance.
I like everything else you said. I think he's got you. But if you ever look at Jim Lee's pencils, this man cannot just put a pencil down and go. It is just
because all his
everyone
is more sketch.
Yeah, everything is made. It's one of the reasons he had trouble getting into Marvel in the first place. He talked about it on Kevin Smith's podcast.
Back when it was good. Back when it was good.
Do what?
Back when it was a good podcast, when it was Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah, back before Fat Man got skinny.
Yeah, when it became Fat Man Beyond, back when he sang the theme song about punching turkeys in their face.
Punch them in their turkey necks. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the good old days.
That was the peak. But he, because of guys like Kurt Schwan, clean lines used to be the name of the game. Jim Lee never won't do a clean line. And you can, which I think reveals that there are no hard and fast rules in art. I have mixed feelings on Jim Lee. I do have 2 big Jim Lee posters up in my house. One of them is that this one in the bottom left corner here where he's standing on the gargoyle. I also have a statue of that one on my desk at work. So I like the guy, but he's far from my ideal Superman.
And that's
I think.
I was gonna say what you just said points out why we're not doing a ranking Superman artist, because art is way too subjective. We're talking about them, and then we're going to pick which ones that talk to us.
So, I think Jim Lee's Superman to me is way too aggressive and dour looking all the time. Yeah, his Superman. When someone says Jim Lee Superman, I immediately think of glowing red eyes.
For me, it's gritty.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a grittier version of Superman, and I think that would translate really well for characters like Batman. But I think Superman is very much more of a clean line kind of character. So I see what you're saying about it.
And he broke in. You gotta Jim Lee's style. If you look outside of it, he broke in doing the Punisher War Journal. Right? Yeah. He moved into the X-Men. And then he became the king of edgy 90s comics. So really this is not his wheelhouse.
Right.
Wait, so if Jim is the king, would you say Rob is the fool?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Also,
my favorite Jim Lee. Oh, yeah, he's on there. Well, he's the king of DC Comics now. So that's... If you want to know why there's so many Jim Lee posters in my house, it's because for every one poster DC does of any other artist style now, they do 4 of Jim Lee.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because he gets to pick who gets the royalties and he'd like to have them, or it's because since he's the president, he lets them have them without the royalties, so the posters are cheaper. I don't know what it is, but you, like I said, it's damn near 2 for 1. You're going to get 2 Jim Lee posters and 1 of anybody else who's ever done Superman.
Interesting.
Right. All right.
Having said that, my Jim Lee issue is Superman Unchained #8.
Oh,
Absolutely incredible fight. Somebody who tells you that Superman can't be interesting because his power level is too high, I encourage you to hand them Superman Unchained #8 because it'll prove them wrong.
I do like Jim Lee's art style, don't get me wrong. It's great, it's iconic to itself. The face is like you guys say, he looks a little bit too mean, angry, gritty, stuff like that.
Stern,
thank you, Stern.
Even when he's trying to make him look smiley and happy, he still looks stern.
Yeah, because as much as I love the cover for Action Comics 1000, we brought the Trunks back. I've been asking for them to come back since 2011. They did. It just, some of it seems off. I don't know what.
Is it the cape?
No, it's like the face, like I can't.
Yeah. Because even then, it's a different. It's Jim Lee drawing, but it's like it's different than his other Supermans. Like he's trying to adapt it, make it like it's a different. And then,
well, I'll tell you guys this because Tyler has put it there for us. This has been a theory of mine for a long time. I think it's his face.
Ooh,
look at him.
Yeah, like.
I had a friend point out to me a while back that I had a friend who is an Asian guy I know from the toy collecting community. Mm-hmm. He's a Korean, and he was like, Jim Lee always draws Superman Korean. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I got to looking at it and look at the eyes, look at the face. And as I was looking at it, I don't know that he's drawing him intentionally Korean, but I do think he's drawing him intentionally.
I'm never going to look at it the same way again now.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
I think it's interesting because if we were to look back at the other artists that we saw, I kind of saw a little bit of them all in each of their Superman.
Look at Superman here, and then think back to Alex Ross's face that we just saw.
I was about to say, though, Alex Ross has a real problem early in his career. And he's gotten better, particularly when he started working with Jim Krueger. But if you go back to early Alex Ross art, not only does Superman look like Alex Ross, every character looks like Alex Ross.
Interesting.
Wonder Woman looks like Alex Ross.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. There's that whole joke
if you look
about
at the facial
some of
structure,
women characters.
That's funny.
I'm just going to say this. If I was a drawing, I would not be putting my face on Superman. I'm like, nope. Nobody wants to see that.
I wouldn't either.
Nope.
But Schuster did it too. If you look at the original art that we saw earlier, there's even a bit of Schuster in Superman. I find it interesting.
All right.
I think you're right about that. Schuster's Superman, though, is specifically supposed to be Buster Crabbe.
Oh, cool.
He's an actor from the time.
Nice.
Quick question for the images we're using for here. What was the name? It's bothering me right now. What was the name of the book Jim Lee worked on with Brian Azzarello?
That was the For Tomorrow.
Thank you. I was trying to remember that name because,
we're going to be doing that
about the images, the red eyes from it, and everything, like the fly. I'm like, what's it called? Thank you.
We're going to be doing that one here soon. Okay, so our next is the legend, Dan Jurgens. And we talked a little bit about him earlier. About how,
here too.
How could you not? We're all...
AKA Kurt Swan for Millennials.
Yeah, exactly. He came up in the late 80s, the 90s. He's the man that created Doomsday. I got 2 comics signed by him right there on my wall. I had a great conversation with him about how important it was that the year that John Kent was born in the comics, 2015, was also the year that my son was born. So
beautiful.
But I picked the images I picked as I wanted to show kind of Jurgens back when he was doing the books early on. A more recent Jurgens kind of doing Superman in different time periods. And then Jurgens drawing Superman now for the cover he did. I really wanted to point out that Jurgens has his style, but he also can draw Superman at any time period and it feels alive. And I think he still feels current. We were talking about how some artists, like, they have their style, whatever, and they just kind of like, it's that. Like, I think Jurgens' work still feels modern, even though it's been like, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot too, is thinking, you know, not only has Jurgens done Superman for so long, how many changes has Superman been through while Jurgens has been drawing?
Ooh, yeah.
Like,
we got the beginning.
Well,
Electric Blue.
Yeah, I went to pull like his drawings and stuff, and you know, it starts with traditional Superman, but then we get into, we got Black Costume, stuff that happened, you know, in the 90s, but then you get into Crisis, you know, Infinite Crisis. Then you get in the New 52, you get into Rebirth.
That's right, New 52.
And that, so like, Jurgens is drawing Superman with all these changes that have happened to where his costumes changed, his style has changed, but it's still Superman by Dan Jurgens.
Didn't he also do some like Elseworld titles too? Like, I feel like he did.
He's been there for so long. Like, yikes.
The whole Tangent universe is Dan Jurgens' baby.
Right. Wait, no. Superman Inc. I think Dan Jurgens did Superman Inc. Right? That's the one where like Superman's a basketball player.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. What? Logan don't know? Oh man, makes me feel
Logan
smart.
don't know.
I stumped you, Logan. Aha!
I feel smart for a split second. But we're gonna keep on moving because
good story, by the way.
Can I just say I absolutely love the cape there in that cover though, because that is absolutely beautiful. The way that the cape is falling and stuff behind it, like I just think it's lovely.
It is lovely. I like how it. I like how it frames him.
Yeah.
You know, it's not blowing behind him. It's draping almost like, you know, his hand is on his head and he's down, and it's like the cape represents the same kind of feeling of being covered, and being protected compared to everything else where we see a very
flowy cape.
Yes, we're gonna keep moving, or we'll be here all night.
Let me say one more thing before we move on.
Yep, you're good.
Dan Jurgens, I'm going. It's a little obvious, but Superman 75, Death Superman issue.
Oh, 100%.
Every page of that comic you could frame and put on your wall. A couple of them I have. I
have a thing that I propose that I would love for DC to have done. You know, for the next anniversary for the death of Superman,
which will be next year, I think, the 35th anniversary.
Maybe.
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
I would love for them to, because the last issue, you know how every page was a splash page, was for that year do 2 alternate covers all year long and have different artists do every cover, and that cover is a panel, and then they release a book at the end of that final issue, but each page was by a different artist.
God, I hope Paul Kaminsky is listening right now.
Nobody listens, but they should.
And the
what
one
about there, guys?
I listen.
I know.
And the one thing I want to say with Jurgens too here is, in addition to that awesome like Superman Through the Ages picture right there, which I got him to sign at GalaxyCon 2023 when I met him, which is awesome. Crisis at Hand is an underrated story. Like, and the funny thing, like, it came out a few months or like a month or two before the death of Superman started happening. Mm-hmm. And like, when I read Powerless, because I always thought that'd be interesting, like, topic to deal with Superman dealing with domestic abuse, and he's powerless to do everything. It doesn't hold any punches back or anything like that. It's very real and stuff. Even actually goes back to Action Comics #1 or Superman #1. And I'm surprised not a lot of people talk about that issue. Let me start.
I'm going to be getting to it sometime on one of these podcasts I do.
Oh, hey, bring me up, and I'd definitely like to discuss it with you.
Unfortunately, Dan Jurgens is one of those guys where when you're trying, and Kurt Swan's in the same boat when I was trying to pick my Kurt Swan issue, you start trying to think, what is the best Dan Jurgens Superman issue? And you have 200 options. You know, it just is mind-numbing.
Yes.
But I will say, though, that the one thing Dan Jurgens has on this list that no other artist on this list has is when you say Superman and I close my eyes, this is the Superman that I see. Mm-hmm. Part of that is my age, yes, but there's also been a lot of Superman artists in the time that I've been alive, and only one of them does that.
And if I remember right, Jurgen's art was used for the Superman roller coaster ride at Six Flags. Because you see like these big like wooden cutouts of it and everything.
So
I
Jurgens
think that's
and
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
you mean the next person we're talking about?
Yeah, perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was waiting for the setup.
I think.
Because this was the
And
other
then,
artist I was talking about that he made a book of like DC characters. Like this is the Superman I remember, and you can still find on stuff nowadays.
Oh, 100%.
Like, they just like took his art and just marketed it on merchandise everywhere. Like these are the
since you mentioned that, I'm going to pull something real fast.
these are the Valentines that I remember getting as a kid, like and everything with Superman on it, and we gotta get Valentines for sale for school. Just kind of like, because I remember her teacher sent out a thing.
Parenting never ends.
Yeah. But this is like, I mean, that right there, because that first image of Superman, and I don't know why some of these came out so grainy in the images and stuff.
Right.
It's like the cutout that's in front of the Superman museum.
Yeah. And speaking about that image,
see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I have that figure. That to me is the best Superman figure ever made. Although I do have a bone to pick with it because it says Superman Silver Age on the side. That is a Bronze Age Superman. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez is a Bronze Age Superman artist. But that's not the figure's fault. It's perfect.
And
it's
the
box's fault.
The Bronze Age is one of my biggest like areas I have not yet read.
Same here, 100%.
And it's because I'm building up to it in reading through the different facets, and I'll get there. I'm in no rush. I got to go another least.
Plus, a lot of Bronze Age stuff isn't very
when you dip your sorry. So when you dip your toe into the Bronze Age, you should read DC Comics Presents #1 by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez as my pick for this one.
Is that
it's a
the
team
one
up between Superman and the Flash?
Oh, okay.
I think his art is iconic and gets sometimes overlooked because it is so, I don't know the word I want to say. It's softer. Like it has that similar, I know his art was before Byrne, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
But is where it's almost like Byrne took this and then made it more chiseled and hard, where Lopez's looks not like a fit man, okay? Yeah. He looks soft, he looks nice, he looks approachable, but he looks strong and firm. And he looks like he's fit, but he's not like, shredded.
So to me, this looks like something that's marketed more toward like a younger audience.
Right.
Like this to me feels like something that, a child would absolutely love, I don't know. It feels different. And then I feel like, as we move forward, we're seeing more of like this marketing toward a wider or older audience. So this just feels youthful, I guess is the word I want to use for it.
Oh,
which is fitting because this style guide, this style guide, what it was originally put together for was the Superpowers action figure line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Retroactive.
That's
like,
why.
That's the place that I usually remember seeing, like, when I think of his art, I think of those Superpowers action figure boxes. Because there was a drawing by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez next to the figure on every box, the same size. To me, he is the default DC artist. Like, I think what the universe is when you remove all of the other styles and artistic flourishes, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez is what you get. And there are pros and cons to that. It is incredibly clean. It is incredibly reliable. It is incredibly simple.
Yeah.
In the beautiful way.
Yes. But I also think there's a reason why, I watch a lot of stuff where people talk about their favorite Superman artists. He always gets an honorable mention, very rarely gets the top spot.
That makes sense.
Now, does Jose's work, is there a lot of it, or is there not as many? Maybe that's why.
Oh,
I think there's a ton.
There's probably more of his art than any other DC artist. Maybe if you look at all the promotional art he did,
because I know they did 2 trade collections of his work.
And I think, and we're going to juxtaposition that with our next artist because you're talking about style, and this is an artist who has their own style that. They would not be your go-to for everything. But more like when this artist appears on a book, it's more of it's not like I can't talk continuity. Like it's like a self-contained project, and that's Frank Quietly. You know,
I'd say this is the opposite of JLGL in every way. Like that, whereas his is like just what the character looks like without any outside impression on it. This is so much outside impression it almost overshadows the character. Right? When I look at this, I see Frank Quietly before I see Superman. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but his style screams out of this.
It does.
You know, I like his style, but it works, like I said, for the story you're telling. It works in a great trade. I mean, I put the image, the cover from All Star in the middle. That's the trade that I have, because that is like being a Superman podcast. Of course, when you say Frank Quietly and Superman, that's where you go. And then we have a recent cover he did as an alternate, and like the way he does cloth, there's a certain way he does cloth, and sometimes I like the way he does faces. Sometimes certain ones I'm a little on, but he has a distinctive style that I appreciate. But I wouldn't want that for my weekly or monthly Superman book, like my continuity story, where I feel like I need more action. Like Quietly's art, it lends itself to beauty, but it's not art for action, I guess you could say. I mean, he does have some great scenes, but like when I'm reading, and I'm thinking, like, I've read some of his X-Men that he drew on and everything, but mainly I think of All-Star, and the way he tells his story in there. So,
and All-Star is my pick for this one, specifically All-Star number 6. If you want a specific issue, but really just read the whole trade. The whole book is by Quietly, and it is all top notch. But I agree with everything that Tyler is saying. Like this is, when I look at this looks like Frank Quietly's Superman more than
exactly. This is Frank Quietly, because I mean, what I appreciate too is like, I like that way Quietly did the trunks being more like the shorts, which is what inspired the most recent film. More like,
yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, I feel like James Gunn, because you and me and Tyler were discussing this before we started recording. I feel like James Gunn, when they were designing for the suit, took a lot of inspiration from Frank Quietly's artwork. Because like you see muscle, but it's not like as detailed as like Henry Cavill's costume.
A lot was made of that, and we'll talk about it later, but I think there's another artist further down that when you look at how he drew the suit, I think Rags Morales is hugely influential on the movie costume.
All right, we're going to keep moving here because we still have a lot of artists to go through. Yeah. And we could be here all day. That's how we roll. And my wife's like, hey, I agree to be on this thing, but not all night.
I'm looking at more of Frank's work.
I know you are. So. I'm just playing. I joke too much. My wife's rad. But then we have Gary Frank. Now, Gary Frank, I think, is an amazing artist. Okay, I love what he's done with Jeff Johns. But my problem with Gary Frank is he's drawing Christopher Reeve.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how, he got away with it. And then we just recently had the Superman 78 books come out, and like they couldn't make it look too much like Christopher Reeve, but yet here's Gary Frank over here basically drawing it.
I think the way he got away with it is that Christopher Reeve was never that jacked. It's alive.
So, I think it's a great Superman, but the problem is a lot of times with his art is when I look at it, I think more Christopher Reeve than I think Superman. And I don't know if that's just because of Jeff Johns was the writer, and Jeff Johns is definitely a Christopher Reeve Superman guy.
And he worked with Richard Donner too.
I was about to say it was co-written with Jeff Johns and Richard Donner.
Well, the one run was, but when you get into the Brainiac series,
I believe they plotted. I believe they plotted all of that run together up until the Legion stuff. I think that Donner only gets a credit on the first one because he moved on to something else. But
Didn't Donner also
hear
work
John's
on?
talk about it.
Didn't Donner also work on the Escape from Bizarro World book too?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and how much he worked on it is I maybe overblown. I think he and Jeff Johns probably had dinner, and they talked about what would be cool, and then Jeff Johns wrote what they talked about at dinner. I think it's probably
Richard Donner was one of those people I always wanted to meet, and not even just separating him from Superman, like Lethal Weapon, man, like what he did with those films, and I mean, even my mom loved Conspiracy Theory, so I watched that movie a lot as a child. So I learned about The Catcher in the Rye. Timeline was good. That was one of his more modern, direct. So
Defender.
I just feel like Richard Donner did an amazing, just as a director, period, outside of his Superman work.
Timeline is the only movie you will ever see where a man gets his ear cut off, and when he gets his ear cut off, he cheers with happiness, and so does the whole crowd. Like, it takes a heck of a filmmaker to watch a man's ear get cut off, and everybody in the theater go, yay!
It's got Billy Connolly, Gerard Butler, Paul Walker, and it's basically he's an archaeologist.
Wait! Don't tell her the end. Don't tell.
I'm not telling her the end.
Listeners that might not have seen it.
But I'm just going to tell her that they find a wormhole, basically, that times travel to a certain part in history.
Yeah.
And they can't. And it's
cast.
It's based on when they're digging, because they're archaeologists and they're uncovering it. We got to watch it.
By the way, I absolutely love this middle image from the neck down.
Yes, from the neck down. Yes,
I love it. It's just gorgeous. Go ahead.
That is my favorite Superman shirt reveal. In fact, when I dressed up as Superman on 2016's Halloween, I used that as a reference.
The one that I liked, I kind of just because of just me, was I really liked the shirt reveal in Superman Earth 1, because he's got the hoodie on. And I recreated,
that's a good one,
I created that. I recreated that in our kitchen one time. I had Junia take a picture because I had a red hoodie on.
To me, you can't top the cover of Man of Steel #1. It's particularly the newsstand cover where it's just a close up on the shirt rip.
Yeah,
that is good.
The newsstand cover is cool. All right,
I will say I don't mind. I don't mind the Christopher Reeve face. Maybe it's just because to me, Christopher Reeve and Superman have always been so fused together. But I see that as a feature more than a bug.
Yeah, I don't mind the face either.
My pick for Gary Frank, Superman Secret Origins. Particularly issue 4. But again, that's one where just read the whole thing.
Well, see, I like Gary Frank stuff on Doomsday Clock too, which I'll be talking with our friend Perry Constantine about Doomsday Clock here soon. Doomsday Clock.
And wasn't there I remember years ago someone was telling me there's a joke saying Gary Frank draws creepy smiles. Do you guys feel that?
There are a couple I could see. If you go back and you look through, there's a couple of just awkwardness, but I think that's any artist really. Our next artist, I was gonna say, is a step backwards, and if I'm not mistaken, would you guys, Logan, you're the efficient here. Jerry Ordway is more Bronze Age. Am I correct?
I would say Jerry Ordway would be Iron Age, because he comes in '86 with Byrne.
Okay.
Prior to that, he does a little bit of Bronze Age stuff on the All Star comics with the JSA.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about Ordway on Superman, really it starts in '86 and runs through the Triangle era. And this is. Should I spoil? Is it okay to spoil my history, or are we saving that to the end? This is my favorite Superman artist ever. I think there are other artists that do specific things about Superman better, but I don't think there's an artist that does the totality of Superman's world better than Jerry Ordway. The transition from Clark Kent to Superman, the shadows on the costume, the physique of the character, the drama and the storytelling of from panel to panel. I think Jerry Ordway does the ins and outs, day-to-day life of Superman better than anyone else who has ever touched it, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Shockingly enough, for me with Jerry's work, I don't really have much experience with it just yet. I mean, outside of like Death of Superman, World Without Superman, and Reign of Superman, and Return of Superman, and whatever was collected in the John Byrne trades, there's not a lot of this work I've checked out yet.
He's in the John Byrne trade because
that's right.
Adventures of Superman issues here, but he actually is not in Death, Reign, and I think he's right at the beginning of Death, but then he leaves the Triangle Era books and is replaced by Carl Kessel, I think, Tom Grummett.
The picture of him with the eagle, I have a book with that. But our next one, we're going to go back.
Love that eagle cover.
Back.
Wait. My Jerry Ordway issue is Adventures of Superman 480 from the Eradication story. One of the best drawn comic book fights ever.
All right, fellas.
Okay.
Wayne Boring.
Right here on the mug.
Yep.
I feel like Wayne Boring is like Kurt Swan before Kurt Swan. Like like there's similarities there. But it feels very much more in line with it reminds me of George Reeve.
I was just going to say that. I was going to ask you the timeline specifically on, when he was doing things, because it looks like George Reeve to me.
Boring predates Reeve, but
Interesting.
But I would bet you anything that when they were cast, in the same way that I'm certain that when they cast Christopher Reeve, they were trying to cast a Neil Adams Superman.
Yeah.
I think that when they were casting George Reeve, partially just because of how prodigious he was in the late 40s and early 50s, when they were casting George Reeve, I think they were casting a Wayne Boring Superman.
Interesting.
Look at that pose, and we think of George. Sorry, I drink some water. I'm really dry because of this weather and my sinuses. I know it might be too much TMI, but it hurts to talk.
You do you, man.
George was fit for the time era, and I feel like that's what we see represented. And I think that's also what we see as we go through art is what we culturally reference as being super or powerful. And
Wayne Boring and Al Plastino, who we're going to talk about in a minute, to me, I think that they, for one thing, this is 100% who Alex Ross is trying to draw when he draws Superman.
Yeah, I can see
Wayne
it.
Boring and Al Plastino. That's the physique that he wants. But this, to me, is if Superman's a farm boy, Wayne Boring's Superman is farm boy strong. He's not, bodybuilder strong. He looks like he works.
Right.
This is Superman if I could get into shape, I would look like. He's not perfectly there, but he's okay. Nothing like the next one we're going to talk about.
Wait. My Wayne Boring issue. Come on, Tyler.
I got you.
Work with. Okay, my Wayne Boring issue is Action Comics 241, which is the first appearance of the Fortress of Solitude. Mm-hmm. And most people agree the point at which you transition from Golden Age Superman to Silver Age Superman.
Exactly.
Now, my question with Wayne Boring's art style and everything, to me, it looks like an in-between of Schuster's arts and Swan's art. It's a weird amalgamation, even though...
That's the timeline. Yeah. You nailed that.
And also, did Wayne Boring, did he work on the comic strip of Superman? Because I feel like I've heard
I mean, if you're talking about late 40s and early 50s, Wayne Boring was the ubiquitous Superman artist. He was the guy that they were putting on lunchboxes. It was one of his sketches they based the Macy's balloon on.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So I also am going to just say this: the next time that we go to Metropolis and Logan's there, we're going to go back through the museum with Logan and have him give us the tour of all the artists and the art that's used on all the merchandise. This is a Wayne Boring. I'm going to record the whole thing as a special and put online of learn your art on merchandise with Logan.
I love it.
I'd be honored. Not this year though, because I'm having a baby 6 days before the Superman celebration.
Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna miss
baby.
it. His name's Clark. So,
I know.
That's awesome.
I love it.
I told that to Junia because I was like, at one point we had talked about naming a daughter Feora because I thought that would be a dope name and everything. I was like, it's not too obvious like Clark, but Logan's got that, so that's sweet.
Yeah.
He just went for it. All right, you ready? What more juxtaposition can we get than going to McGinnis? Ed McGinnis. I will say that when I first saw Ed McGinnis's art, I wasn't a fan. I was like, this is cartoony and over the top. But then, looking at it and then reading the stories written by Loeb with McGinnis's art, I don't mind it. It goes back to, it works. It's fun. He draws the action. I mean, even in this pose I have here of Superman, hands on his hip, he's got his eyes looking more like Schuster style Superman here. It doesn't bother me. It is not Wayne, we were past Wayne. Ed McGinnis Superman. Like, no one draws Ed McGinnis Superman. It's his own distinct style.
I feel like he's got muscles on here that don't even exist.
Yeah.
He's
got a
Muscle.
He has
Right.
He has a 9-pack.
Right.
We talked about John Byrne earlier, talking about Ed McGinnis. This is a guy who insists on inking his own art, and there is a reason. When you see what Ed McGinnis art looks like he knows exactly how to ink what he's doing. I first saw Ed McGinnis when I was 9 years old, and when Ed McGinnis came on the Superman comics, so did I. And at that time, I thought this was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. He has not stayed as highly ranked now as he was when I was 9.
Right.
But this is just if you want to talk about epic, this is an epic Superman.
It is
definitely.
Life.
And I mean, his stories are epic that he got to draw for. And I think that really helps. And I mean, haven't seen Ed McGinnis come back around and do Superman in a while. And I think
I think he's exclusive with Marvel still doing Spider-Man.
I think
that's about right.
Yeah. But his Superman is, if you look up more Junia, like when he did Superman and Batman and everything, it's really good. I have come around and I appreciate there's very much a dynamic pop to his art in all the best ways.
I'll tell you too, he brought the short cape back. Superman had that long John Byrne cape for ages, and nobody would try it. Ed McGinnis was the first one that brought the short, butt cheek length cape back, and still made it work. While I got the mic, my Ed McGinnis is Superman number 160, first issue of Emperor Joker.
Okay.
Beautiful. Superman versus Bizarro
I
fight.
love McGinnis's art. I love how cartoony it looks, but also you could tell there's some anime influence to it and everything. But for me, also you could see clearly the Max Fleischer cartoons is on the face and everything. Yeah. But his artwork doesn't always work for certain characters. I remember when Marvel Spirit Self came out, there was this variant cover. If you ripped off all the covers of Flashpoint, tie-ins, whatnot, you can get this special variant cover. And his Iron Man just looked ugly. Roided out and ugly.
Well, some of his secondary characters, his Lois, I'm not a fan of. Because if anyone knows me, you'll know why. So,
because she's secretly the parasite?
Because her hair color.
Is that when they changed it to brown or black?
That's when it's red. That's when it
That's when they changed it to purple because she's secretly the parasite.
Yes, I know that. All right.
Everybody beware. It's one of the weirdest comics ever.
It was very weird. I won't even go into it, but yes, we read that last year, and I was like, this is weird.
Which issue was it?
I'll have to pull it up. It was through our run.
It's in the early part of the Loeb Kelly stuff.
Yeah, I think it's in the Something City trade on the app.
Okay, I guess I might check it out.
Al Plastino. Just take it away, Logan. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, this is the most underrated Superman artist ever. Al Plastino has been getting crap from people for being a boring Superman artist for 40 years, and they're full of crap. Al Plastino is incredible, and and to me, this is probably who we should be thinking of when we think of Silver Age Superman, because of just how many he did.
Yeah.
And some of the most iconic covers of the Silver Age for Superman and Superboy are Al Plastino. And as was mentioned earlier, when DC felt like they didn't like how a character looked, how a Superman looked when another artist drew them, they would bring in Al Plastino to draw. They did it to Jack Kirby and did it to many others to draw Superman's face back over the top. But it's just an iconic looking Superman. And for my money, if you're going Silver Age versus Silver Age, I like Al better than Kurt. I think he's got a better handle of physique in the era.
No, true.
But here's the most important thing. No disrespect to Kurt Swan, because when he goes, he goes. When he really puts his back into it. But I think Al Plastino is trying harder more often than Kurt Swan is.
I will agree with you about the physique and proportions and stuff. I think there's Plastino's Superman has a more form, and maybe that's why it doesn't stand out as much, because Kurt Swan's has a robust Superman. Yeah. What's your favorite? What's your issue? Quick, tell us your issue.
My issue for Al Plastino is Action Comics 340, first appearance of the Parasite, written by Jim Shooter. Again, one of the best fights you will ever read in comics.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And he mentioned earlier the creepy-looking Alex Ross Parasite that is pulled directly from Al Plastino's version.
Awesome.
With the skin stretched over the features.
Al's work I don't have a lot of experience with, but the one thing I recognize definitely is that one image Tyler used for the third image. That's from that one issue I talked about earlier with the JFK issue.
Yes, it is. Our next artist is the late, great Tim Sale.
R.I.P.
It sucked. Me and my pal Brian were going to head to Cincinnati Con, and we saw that Tim had canceled, and then shortly later he passed away. Tim Sale, Superman art, specifically Superman. At first, I didn't know what to think. I put up, of course, for all seasons, and I put up Superman Kryptonite, which are a great back-to-back read for anybody. They are a great back-to-back read. I had to come around with his Superman. I liked his Clark. And what I've come to realize, what I really loved about it, was it's I'm a big guy bumbling, but I'm a soft teddy bear.
Like that.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tall, okay? And I had a friend of mine at work today. She came up to me. She goes, I haven't got to properly just tell you how glad I am to see you back in the office. And she came up and she hugged me and she goes, you are tall. And, and I'm like, yeah, I am. And and there's a couple images in for all season where you see that kind of same light in Superman's face of just being like, I know I'm big. And even as Clark, like, I know I'm big and awkward, but he shows a softness, even though he could rip everything apart. And that's what I've come to love about Tim's Superman, is the like when thinking about like when Clark's laying in bed and he's stretched out both times, when he's Clark, when he's older, when he's younger, and he's listening to Ma and Pa, and when he's at the malt shop and everything, like there's just a sense that this is a good dude. And that's what I love about Tim's Superman.
Well, the farm boy aspect, which is fitting because according to Jeff Loeb, Wayne Boring's Superman was the inspiration for how Superman looks in Superman for All Seasons, because he did the first Superboy appearance, and they wanted to capture that kind of physique mixed with the gentleness. And I think you could see it. This is the comic. So you told a story about when you bought that Justice book earlier.
Yeah.
When me and my wife first started dating, obviously she could tell from Orbit how into comics I am. And she was like, give me a comic that shows me why you love comics. And this is Superman for All Seasons is the one I gave her. And as much as I would love to take credit for it, that's the reason my kid is going to be named Clark.
Oh,
Like,
That's cool.
for me, that's a family name, but for her, it's Superman for all seasons. Like,
that's cute.
yeah, it's a great book, incredible book. It's the pick if you want to read a Tim Sale book. Although Kryptonite is also very good, but All Seasons is damn near a perfect piece of art.
It's a beautiful book and a story that I find myself, it's almost like comfort food of a story. So
Yeah. Also, Superman looks like a thumb, and I look like a thumb, and I like that.
Now I just said, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
A thumb. I like
yeah,
that.
it's been said like he looks like a thumb. Like
Yeah. When I look at this Superman, I feel seen.
That's hilarious. What you doing now?
I was gonna grab my book. Let them talk. My book.
No, nobody's talking right now.
Keep on talking, Jim. You talk.
Yeah, I will say another interesting factoid about this book is there is a dog in it that is introduced to Superman mythos named Shelby, that Tim Sale drew on the porch.
First.
Shelby was Tim Sale's childhood dog.
Aw.
And that had passed away.
Yeah.
And he drew Shelby into the book, and DC came back and said, Clark can't have a dog unless it's Crypto. So take Shelby out and put Crypto in there. And Tim Sale threatened to quit the book if they made him take the dog out, according to Jeff Loeb.
Wow.
I believe it.
And so the compromise was he drew a dog that looked kind of like Crypto laying next to Shelby. And that, of course, ended up the Crypto that we see on Smallville. They end up actually naming that dog Shelby. So Shelby has stayed in the Superman mythos as Clark's childhood regular dog.
I love that.
I don't know why I don't grab my books ahead of time for Junia to look at, but
I've seen this one before, though.
Yeah,
you've shown this one to me before. Absolutely.
next up is Tom Grummett. Now, his work is nothing that I would know other than the Return of Superman that's here on the left.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's still kind of that Byrne-looking Superman. Just now, he's a little bit slimmer. It's not bad art, but I couldn't look at this and tell you that who drew it.
I always thought it was Dan Jurgens.
No, that's definitely Tom Grummett. You can tell from how squared off Tom Grummett makes a lot of the jaw lines and features and stuff. But the biggest thing with Grummett is the shading incorporated into the pencils is the giveaway. Like, he really, if you look at where some of these dark shadows are actually done like pencil lines, right? He was really known for that. His biggest Superman contribution is the Superboy comic. Like, he and Carl Kessel co-created Connor Kent, although he was just Con-El when they were working on it, and launched that title out of, I want to say it was Superman, Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, Adventure
so, yeah.
Superman. Adventure Superman. Don't listen to me. Yeah, they were doing Adventure Superman, and that spun off into the Superboy book, which, while I'm thinking about it, my Tom Grummett book is Superboy number 8, which is where Superboy Con-El, through a 0-hour time warp, fights Superboy Clark Kent in Smallville. It's a neat, wacky issue.
Awesome.
Our next one, I was looking for this, is we're going to change it up just a little bit. But, I went too far. I switched computers. I'm running 2 computers here. So, Bruce Timm. Woo! Worth knowing because I think it's a very popular image because of the animated series. But, this is, I joked like sometimes I feel like I'm like a Bruce Timm drawing because I have a large barrel chest and like thinner, even though now my midsection is catching up to me. But this is an image when people think of Superman, they might think of. I mean, this is, for the late 90s, early 2000s with the Justice League, the Bruce Timm style.
Yeah. absolutely.
The question is, do you know what inspired the design for the Superman?
I was gonna say, what do you think after our conversations that we've had today?
So, from what I remember, what besides Silver Age stuff, whatnot, they Bruce Timm specifically went to an old cartoon from the '60s called The Mighty Hercules. And when I saw that cartoon, this was like before I learned this too. I was like, this Hercules looks a lot like Superman. And I just find it funny that the official Superman cartoon took some influence from a cartoon from the '60s. Where like, hey, let's make Hercules basically look like Superman.
That's kind of cool.
when you see that cartoon, when he says looks like it, I mean like they traced that Hercules' head.
Yeah.
Like verbatim. It is 100% same skin tone, same eyes. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like when you realize that his Lex Luthor is Telly Savalas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you
that's
can't
straight
ever
up.
unsee it or unhear it again. I mean, this is my first, right? Like,
Yes.
my first two exposures to Superman are this, Super Friends, and the Mullet Era comics. When I was 2 years old, 3 years old. This is damn near the default Superman. Although I will say, this picture on the right is the album cover for when they released Shirley Walker's music
Score.
for Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I
piece-
thought it was from the 75th anniversary short they did back in 2013.
Nope.
I think that
They
image
mimic
does
it.
end that short. Yeah, I think it was used
Okay.
for both. But this has always bugged me. Where does his left hand go? It has
behind
driven me crazy. Behind his arm is straight.
behind his thigh. But I
He
get
just
you.
has it like he just,
Yeah, I
he
can see what
just
you're
turns
talking
it
about
at
now.
like a 90-degree angle right there at the end. There's no way.
I got okay.
Look how
you
long
got-
the other arm is.
Okay, I gotta tell you, I gotta share this quick nerd story, and maybe you'll pick up on this. So when I met George Newbern and Tim Daly
Mhm.
a few months ago, I was standing in line, and I was standing in line to meet George, and I looked at the guy who was like the handler guy, and I looked down at his table, and I said, because they had that picture on the left on his table, I said, "That's not his Superman." I was like, "That's not him." I was like, "That's
Yeah.
him over there." And the guy just kind of looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, that's from the animated series. That's Tim. George did the Justice League."
Oh, that reminds
George
me of,
Newbern's Superman is buff and old.
That reminds me of that one joke with the actor who played Rocky, the second Red Ranger. He had something similar happen to him at a con once.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's-
you said Rocky, and I thought you meant like.
Yeah, I know. It's because like the boxer and stuff. I know.
So let's get into some George Lopez or George Lopez. I'm getting
George.
tired.
Wait.
George
I didn't know he was
Perez.
an artist.
Wait,
Yeah.
Bruce Timm. I'm going with series finale Legacy Part 1 and 2.
Oh, you went
Last two episodes of Bruce Timm's Superman.
nice. You went with that episode.
Those are the episodes to pull. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Definitely not going with that album cover. Where's his hand?
with George Perez here, and Tyler needs sleep. Can we talk about maybe a more iconic cover, like one of the most iconic just covers in comics? Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that? You know, I mean, I guess you could say the one next to it on the right, the Superman #1, has been like ripped off and used for everybody and everything. But Superman holding the dead Supergirl is amazing. Like, just
I mean, for my money, not my favorite Superman artist specifically, but George Perez, in my opinion, is the greatest comic book artist of all time.
Oh yeah, like his group shots and everything.
I mean, look how many. The thing I love about this cover is you're looking at Superman and Supergirl, and then you start looking what's behind it.
Behind.
Yeah.
And that's not like digital trickery where, you know, they might have drawn it, then like shrunk it or changed or whatever. Like he drew, and that's the thing about that Crisis book is just how much he put into that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's my pick for George Perez is Crisis on Infinite Earth, specifically Crisis number 12 if you need a single issue. But again, read the whole thing. But that is my single favorite moment in a comic ever is when the Anti-Monitor comes back in his energy form and the Golden Age Superman just loses it. And he goes, I have had enough. And he throws a punch that kills the Anti-Monitor and breaks the whole universe that they're standing in. And it's so beautifully drawn and colored by, drawn by Perez and colored by someone who really should be getting credit right now, but nobody ever remembers colorists' names. It's just incredible. He's the only artist, it's not Superman related, but just an example. George Perez is so good at drawing every different character individually. You go to his Avengers run, and you've got Captain America, Hawkeye, and Hank Pym all talking in civilian clothes. These are 3 muscular blonde men with no beards, and you can tell who each one is. Nobody has to say their name. Perez is that good. You can still tell them apart. And let me tell one more George Perez story, because he's passed away now, but one of the most special memories I have in my life, and one of these people that I've actually met. I met George Perez at MegaCon, and while I was in line to meet George Perez, I got an email from SCAD that I had been accepted with a scholarship to the Savannah College of Art and Design.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I ended up not going, but that doesn't ruin the story. So I'm ecstatic, and I get to the front of the line, and I tell George Perez, I'm like, I just got accepted to SCAD. And before I can say anything, he runs around the table and hugs me like he was my dad, and he cries.
Aww.
He cries. He's so happy, and he holds up my hand, and he shouts to all the people at MegaCon. He's like, "You're looking at the next great comic artist."
Aww.
And I did not have the heart to tell him that it was an acting scholarship.
Hey. Hey.
That's pretty amazing, though.
Yeah, that's what I was told about George Perez. He was just a very sweet guy, and I know a lot of people from the Superman celebration, they would call him Uncle George.
And his wife,
I'm serious.
If I remember, didn't his wife, he wore a lot of the kind of shirts I like to wear to work?
Yeah.
His wife would make those, Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, that's
and he would wear those. That's what he always wore.
That's so cool.
And everything. Andy over on Holy Backcast told a story about he didn't meet George. He met George Perez's wife or a friend that was friends with him, and he didn't realize that it was George Perez, and he had the opportunity to actually meet George. And when George passed, he told that on his podcast. So it's
like I said, he was crying and grinning. He was so happy. And we didn't know each other at all. It was an incredible moment. It didn't feel for all I know, it was a big performance, but it was one that meant a lot to me.
The next artist, because I don't want to keep us here all night, fellas. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Is John Romita Jr. And I will say, I have issues with John Romita Jr. I picked 3 distinctive John Romita Jr. drawings.
Well, actually, that left one I'm pretty sure is from his dad.
Is it? I might have messed up. Pretend that one's not there.
What's there?
What's there? Exactly.
Not to do that, actually type guy.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, it's my job.
Yeah. I've come around on his art. I like his art for other characters, okay? Like his Kick-Ass, I was fine with it. But when he did Superman, I didn't like it because I found it so boxy and just it didn't feel like I was reading Superman. And they made such a big deal about him coming on the book and everything. But having revisited it recently, I can accept it, but he's not one of my favorites. But I appreciate his unique style.
Oh, yeah, it's weird but cool at the same time. His Spider-Man work is great.
My pick for him is a controversial one, but Superman Year One that you have here. This is a weird suggestion, but take the first 2 issues of Superman Year One, look at them, don't read them.
Yeah,
you can find it with the text balloons removed. He has but his art in this comic, he has such a cool Fleischer-inspired kinetic Superman. And honestly, he's the first one I know of who did the design where, usually this emblem on the cape is just yellow. when he does it in Superman Year One, it's yellow with a black background, and I think that pops so much. I would keep that forever if I was making Superman decisions.
All right, what's our issue? Oh, great Logan, man of knowledge.
It's Superman Year One, number 1.
It's beautiful.
But don't read it.
It's beautiful art. Yeah, don't read it. I hate that story. I
like it.
I hate that I spent money on it. It's not even a year. Okay, Ivan Rice, and I hope I'm pronouncing this thing. I love Ivan's Superman. Okay, I love the way that Shield literally looks like it's popped out. Like he's right here on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love it. That is, we've talked, Logan and I have hit on this a little bit before. I think Brad and I too. Do not really like Bendis' run.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't gotten there yet, but
once again, I like it because the art. Once again, just look at the art. Like
it's
that
too
whole
late for me. Save yourself.
Logan and I were talking about earlier how much we don't like the Rogels are. But
No,
the
I
art.
don't have. Sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
No, go.
I don't
can
have a
tell you.
suggestion for this one because I would have to be telling the listeners to go read a Bendis Superman comic, and I will not do that in a world where precedence is how our criminal system is based.
If
Who knows what consequences I would be opened up to if I told someone to go read a Bendis Superman comic.
Wow.
Hey, I'm a glutton for punishment. Like I read New 52 Superboy, so I'll be reading that all the way through.
All I'm going
If I
to
can
say
get through
is
that. I can get through Bendis' stuff.
when I met Jurgens, and I've told this story before, and I told him like how upset I was when John was taken out of being a child, he just gave me that look where I knew we were communicating.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not putting words in the man's mouth, but I knew. I could feel what he was feeling. That's why when he's gone back and told stories, he always takes John back to being a kid because he knows what's up. But I could see it in his eyes. He was not happy to say that. Okay, we're going to keep moving. What do you think about Rice? Ivan Superman Jew.
Gorgeous art, though.
I think so too. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love the glasses. I love the glasses and the way that he did the glasses and the reflection and stuff right there. There's something to me about artists who can capture light in specific ways, especially in comic book art. And that image that you have on your wall, which you don't have right here. I wish you guys could see it. I don't know what it's from. Do you know what it's from?
It's from the back of a cereal box.
Okay, it's from
Back
the
in,
back
like,
of
I think
the
it was-
cereal box.
When they did, like, you collected the backs
Hell
of the
yeah.
cereal boxes and made
Yeah.
a poster. I'll send this to them.
It was just beautiful. The light on it is beautiful, and I think he just captures it very well in all of these images, and that one especially.
I'll give a suggest. Like, I can't recommend enough. His Green Lantern run, I think, is the peak of Ivan Reyes's work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. His
100%.
Aquaman run with Jeff Johns
Yes.
is amazing.
Let's recommend that book. We'll recommend
Let's recommend
Aquaman
that book.
Volume 1 by Jeff Johns
Yes.
and Ivan Reyes instead of the Super.
Even specifically issue 1. I think if you're going to read 1, read that first issue. If you don't like Aquaman, read New 52 Aquaman number 1 by Jeff Johns and Ivan Reyes. You will like it by the end of the book.
Oh, yeah.
But do not read a Bendis Superman comic.
Your grandmother will tell you not to read a Bendis Superman. All right, moving on. Jason Fabok. I love his art. Period. Okay? I got to meet him quickly one time, and it was like as we were leaving the con, I got to talk to him for a short period of time because the kids were ready to go. They were a lot smaller at the time. And you were there, Juge. We were leaving. It was
I briefly and vaguely remember.
because we weren't there very long because the kids were just young, and Devin went with us, and he was like having a panic
Oh,
attack.
yes, I remember that. Yes.
I just recently talked to this with Perry Constantine. Like his art is like the story's okay, but Three Jokers, his art's what makes that book. I love his art. And his Superman image here, there's a strength and a peacefulness, but yet we're still kind of in that Byrne-esque build, you know?
It has a little bit of a Jim Lee vibe to it.
And it has a little bit of the, yes. So I think Fabok's art is amazing. But I feel like this is kind of, like you said, it's a little bit of Jim Lee. Like, of course, I've read some of his other stuff, his recent stuff he's got going on. I think he's a very, very talented artist.
I'll say, though, it is a little bit Jim Lee. To me, he's always fallen like partway between Jim Lee and David Finch.
Yeah.
But I think that while he does what Jim Lee does well, he captures the spirit of Superman better than Jim Lee does. The hope, the vibe, the expression on the face. I will say, this is one where I don't think Jason Fabok, to my knowledge, has ever done a full issue of Superman. The closest recommendation I could get is he did this variant cover for Action Comics 1000, which I like better than we saw the standard cover of the same comic when we did Jim Lee. And I think this is a better cover.
Yes.
I wish he would do an extended run.
I wish he would too. He did the Justice League with Jeff Johns, and they started working together then, and that's why he's doing Rook now for Ghost Machine.
He did do Justice League. Okay, well, there's a great one. New 52 Justice League number 52, End of Darkseid War.
Yep.
That's my recommendation. That is a gorgeous comic.
All right, we'll keep moving on. Patrick Gleason. This was my favorite Superman suit in comics, the Reborn suit. It was back to being cloth. I was okay without the trunks. I liked the belt design. And I like his work. I like the way he draws Superman. Little softer, fit, athletic, but not shredded, not hulking.
Right.
He looks happy. Even
to me.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to me, he captures the Joe Shuster Superman build. Like, a little shorter limbed, stockier. He tends to have the squinty eyes, but the biggest thing is Gleason does that kinetic energy I talked about when I talked about Shuster so well. Like, you go through his issue where Superman's fighting the Eradicator in the first story arc of Superman Rebirth. That fight moves so well. I think if you'd never read a comic book before, you would know exactly where to look. Every hit feels like it hits so hard. I think Gleason does that better than almost anybody who's working in comics today.
All right. Issue recommendation.
Issue recommendation for Patrick Gleason is Superman number 10 from Superman Rebirth.
All right. The next one is Doug Mahnke. I think this is a great drawing, but I don't like it as Superman.
Again, a guy who is I have mixed feelings on him. He drew most of what a lot of people consider to be the greatest Superman single issue of all time, which is the recommendation for this one, Action Comics 775. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, the American Way?
Great book. Great review on Single Bound.
Yes. Yeah, we have reviewed it on my podcast. Great first episode if you want to jump into that. But his Superman is a little dark, a little edgy for what I want Superman to be.
Right.
All right.
And a little too, like, he's the wrong kind of muscular. Like, you have, like, this guy's strong muscular, and you have, like, this guy's dehydrated muscular.
Yeah, you can see too much of his rib cage.
That's more like a Nightwing to me.
Yeah.
Than a Superman.
Yeah, actually.
All right. Our next one is Stuart. Is it Immonen? Stuart.
Immonen.
Phenomena.
Right.
I think I like his Superman. Try to find two different images. I like the build. It's more normal.
More normal.
Like a normal physique is what I'm saying. But I like the details that he gives to the faces. And
And he's got some chin in that one.
Yeah,
he's looking up to the sky there.
That cover, yeah.
You know, I'm very mixed. Actually, this image that you have here from the issue that he wrote and penciled is about my favorite Stuart Eminem Superman image I've ever seen. I did not remember that. Usually his Superman is too small and skinny for me.
Kind of like the other one.
Yeah, like this one on the side. And Superman, people love Superman's Secret Identity. I like Kurt Busiek. I don't want to crap on that book, but it's not for me. And one of the reasons is that Superman is very plain.
But I think it works for that book, that story, though.
Oh yeah, I do too. My biggest problem with that book is just that it doesn't. It's like a Superman story with a lot of the things I like about Secret Identity is my pick for Eminem's art.
Okay.
Read the whole thing. But,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
The king himself.
Jack Kirby. Amazing artist, but it's almost weird to see Jack Kirby drawing Superman.
Exactly. I felt the same exact way, especially with this image.
Because this
feels so surreal.
Okay, I'm looking at this image, and I feel like this image could be the Thing, a New God.
Yeah.
The Hulk.
DC felt like it was weird too, so they had Al Pacino draw back over it.
I mean, Jack Kirby's amazing. We could go on all day about what he's done for comics and everything, but I never think Jack Kirby and Superman.
There's an odd shape going on there with his legs too. I don't know how to better describe it than that. It just feels odd.
It's almost like
he's
Reed Richards
with the trunks. The trunks look weird.
He looks like he's Reed Richards in a Superman costume.
Looks like who in a Superman costume?
Like he's Reed Richards. He's Mr. Fantastic in a Superman costume.
More buffer Reed Richards. Yeah,
but he's like stretching his body out. That would explain the legs and the arms and the proportions.
The features. This is a very late in his life Kirby. He was doing a lot of these big pages for Alter Ego and stuff like that. And he started to have problems with his hands with really bad arthritis.
And makes us all feel like crap right now.
Now we all sound like a bunch of a-holes.
Not all of us. I didn't say anything bad about the king. R.I.P.
Well, I'll be down there in Hades hanging out waiting on you guys, which means I'll just be by myself. My mom will be there. It'll be
But I don't disagree. I mean, it's kind of like that Quietly thing. Jack Kirby is incredible, but he's very stylized, and it works in Marvel because his style is everything in Marvel. He made up every character.
Yeah, I mean, he's the house style almost. What they built the company out there.
He's Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and Kurt Swan and all rolled up into one guy if you're in Marvel. And if you're in the New Gods corner of DC, it works.
Yeah.
Having said that, my Jack Kirby recommendation is actually probably going to surprise me. I'm not going to pick a New Gods issue because of the Al Pacino controversy we talked about earlier. Later in his, not as late as this image was done, but later in his career, he circled back to DC to do the tie-in comic for the Superpowers line.
I knew exactly where
he wrote and drew it. And in those issues, because it was a tie-in comic for a toy line, DC basically let him do whatever he wanted. They didn't care. So you're getting to see his art really unfiltered. And I'm going with Superpowers number 5.
Now, did his face get altered in those or no?
No, I believe that to my knowledge, that is straight Kirby Superman. And is the first ever comic fight between Superman and Darkseid.
Oh, interesting.
So, if anybody ever tells you that was not a Kirby idea, Kirby is the whole reason that Darkseid was brought into Superpowers.
Could you imagine if Jack Kirby did Doomsday? Oh, that'd been so cool.
That'd been cool. I'd love to see that as an alternate, just a what if. All right, guys. Tony S. Daniel. We'll go with Brad first. How do you feel about Tony's art here?
It looks cool. I have virtually no real experience with his work whatsoever.
Sweet.
Short and sweet.
Junia, thoughts?
No, I mean it looks beautiful too. Yeah, I like. There's so much detail in the background, especially in this like cover art that we have going on here. There's just a lot going on behind him, and I think that's quite lovely. But looking at Superman himself, It's interesting because there's a variation. There's just variation from image to image when it comes to the way that he approaches Superman. He doesn't look the same. You know, like how the other artists, you could always kind of see like almost like I don't want to say like a copy and paste face, but like there's more, I feel like, facial continuity going on. And here, the three images look very different from each other to me.
I like the way the look of the fabric in the New 52 one here, I think looks really good. Logan, thoughts?
Well, Despicable Me. I like it, but not a lot.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's just never been. I did, for one thing, maybe it's because I associate it with, he came on to Action Comics after Morrison and Morales left with a really bad writer. So maybe part of it is that I associate it with that comic taking a nosedive. I have always felt like his Superman looks like his ribcage is trying to escape the rest of his body.
That's what I just noticed just now. I'm looking at it.
And it kind of ruins every one of his pictures for me.
Interesting.
But that's just me. Other people like different things. That's why we have fruit salads.
Exactly.
That's why we have different.
Wait.
You skipped the classic.
Trust me.
Oh.
I'm going back.
Okay.
Do you trust me, Aladdin?
Rags Morales. So I actually got to meet Rags Morales recently, and my daughter got to talk to him and about her wanting, being an artist and everything. And he was really kind and talked with her and told me to look into like some different schools and stuff for young kid programs and things like that. And I sent some emails out. So I really appreciated that. And there is, to his art, such an interesting way that he does, like, I don't know how to articulate it, but like when I talked about like Frank Quietly earlier, what do you call it? Just how he draws cloth. Rags Morales has a way of drawing and shading like skin and like people's tone and things that I just think is really unique. All right, I'm done talking. Junia, you can talk.
Go ahead.
Because that first New 52 Superman run is just incredible to me. It's a top five Superman run of all time.
Oh, definitely. Like, I finally experienced it last year. Yeah, I was like been putting it off since 2011. Ooh, I'm still catching up too. But when I read it, I was like, this is amazing. I love Grant Morrison's writing, how crazy it gets. Yeah. But like Rags' art just makes it even better.
I was heartbroken to find out Rags was interviewed on the Word Balloon podcast, and he hates Superman. They had to bully him into doing the comic. What he said is basically they let him, if he agreed to do the New 52 Superman book, they would let him pick his next project. And so he did this book, and then Dan Didio reneged on the deal.
It sounds like
didn't let them do.
And here I thought they were going to take away his lunch money or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what you get when you hate Superman. So bad things happen to you.
How do you hate Superman? Like all right. Well,
he did say he likes his version of Superman.
Well, that's cool. I like his version of Superman too.
But I feel like it needs to be some kind of written rule somewhere that when you're drawing a character that you actually have to be invested at least a little bit in the character, Yeah.
So
that would be mine.
You know what's crazy though is I would never have believed from how much he put into this book. I mean, I guess he's just a consummate professional. And he talked about, he's one of those guys that feels like Superman is overpowered and boring, and he doesn't like that. And he specifically mentioned that he doesn't like that Superman is too nice, right? And this Superman is more of a golden age kind of like,
yeah, he is.
Will rough people up a little bit. And I think that he found a middle ground because of that stuff that let him tap into the character. And I think you can also see as you as you read the comic, Morrison does a really interesting thing where this Superman transitions from a Golden Age morality to more of a Silver Age one.
Mm-hmm.
After he throws a wife beater out a window and cripples the guy, and then the guy comes back as a supervillain.
Yeah.
It's a really good writing thing, but I think you can also see that as you get into the latter part of the series and Superman becomes more of your morally traditional Superman, Morales checks out a little bit. The art gets a little flatter, a little lazier, but I still my recommendation for this is Action Comics #1, not the real one, the New 52 one. It is a damn near perfect comic and gorgeous art.
I feel like I could talk a whole podcast about how I don't want to say how wrong people are when they like underestimate Superman like that. But I really feel like they're doing a disservice to themselves when they look at him so black and white like that, you know?
Right.
That's my wife, guys.
I'm just saying there's something about an individual who has all of this power and all of this ability to be or do something harmful or painful in the world, or like ruling the world even, but they choose not to. The amount of strength that it takes of character to be that. I don't know. People just really undervalue that, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I don't mean to, I think it's one of those criticisms people make that tells you more about them than it does about what they're criticizing.
Right.
If somebody says, I think a character who's really powerful and uses it to be kind is boring, I think, to me, what they're really saying is that's not how I would use it.
Yeah.
You don't need that kind of negative in your life. Just leave those people. No. Okay, so our next artist, I sent you guys a picture because the picture that I had didn't come out right on the slideshow, is Darwin Cook. So
I would love, the artist that you pulled is actually kind of a friend of mine, though. I would love if we could give him a shout out.
So the artist, the image I pulled is in Darwin Cook, Phil Cho inspired. So I was like, well, crap. So
it's by Dakota Alexander. He's an indie guy. I've talked to him some on Facebook. He lives in Japan. He just came out with an indie comic called The Hunter that you can find on Etsy. It is my favorite new comic. It's incredible.
So we're going to
feels
Etsy.
Like, yeah, I'll send Tyler the link so we can
yes,
put it in.
I was about to tell him that, and he went ahead. I was about to say, drop me the link.
Yeah,
but Dakota is great. Definitely check out his stuff.
So Darwin Cook, rest in peace. I always loved his art because it just felt modern, but a throwback, and just something different. It was like a palate cleanser kind of art. Like that kind of art where it's like, I'm not trying to be too hip. And, James, my lovely co-host, recently purchased me the book of New Frontier that he said he was going to mail to me. I'm waiting. And I love Darwin Cook's art. It's such a refreshing, even in the story, like it looks like everyone's like doing well.
it's like happy and nostalgic.
Yeah. It's like a modern Silver Age art style.
Yeah, there we go.
It kind of reminds me of like if Jack Kirby and Kurt Swan had a baby. Like that's
Jack Swan.
It's the perfect.
Jack Swan.
Perfect. Jack Swan.
Jack Swan, baby. Jack
Swan. I thought you said Jack Wan.
Jack Swan, comic book artist.
All one name, Jack Wan.
Jack Wan. But no, like it has that clean, wholesome feeling that Swan has, but it has that kinetic, rough energy that Jack Kirby has, and it just it just perfectly blends them. My wife just read New Frontier, and she absolutely loved it. I had the opportunity to meet Darwin Cook I used to work traveling around with this guy named Crazy Ed, selling comics at comic shows.
Nice.
And I was really good at it, but he was really mean. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had a 15-minute break every day to go look at the con.
Oh,
once
wow.
a day.
Oh.
and I was on that break, and I went to Darwin Cook's table, and I was almost there, and no one was in line. Darwin Cook was sitting there drawing, and I was so excited. This was around the time that before Watchmen was coming out, which is one of the favorite comics of that time, like his Minutemen comic.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I was almost to the table, and there was a rush back at the comic table, and Ed starts screaming at me from across the dealer room to come back off my break because there was a rush at the table and he needed me to sell books.
I would have kept walking and been like, my heart was pounding too loud. I couldn't hear. All I could hear was my happiness.
I should have, in hindsight. I threw a long box of comics at him at the next show and quit. So it got there. But but we got into. So I turned around and go back. When the rush dies down, I try to go on my break again. Darwin Cook is gone. Darwin Cook has left the show early because Darwin Cook was having health problems. And immediately passes away.
Oh, wow.
Within a month or two of me missing that opportunity.
Wow.
Dude,
probably 30 feet from Darwin Cook with no line, and walked back for a guy who didn't even pay me my whole
that reminds me of a story I had from last year with Jim Shooter, because when I met him at the same con me and Tyler met, the day he passed away, just a few hours was announced, I emailed Jim Shooter and was like, hey, how are you doing? I hope you're doing better with your health and everything. And then I found out he passed away a few hours after, and that really hit me hard.
Wow.
Dang.
Another legend. Losing Jim Shooter hurt.
Oh, 100%.
Speaking of losing legends, Neil Adams. I chose these images because I wanted to do one of the last comics that Neil had done as Superman. James and I reviewed this book after Neil had passed. And then, of course, the classic Breaking the Kryptonite Chain, which Neil himself has said he didn't like. And then the cover of him breaking the chains, that I feel that you can still see similarities in the face between the one on the far left and the centerpiece as well of Neil Adams as Superman. I think it's great. But at the same time, I feel like physically there's ways that he drew Superman I don't like. A lot of it's in the ribs and and everything, but I mean,
his more modern art to me looks weird in comparison to his original art.
Yeah.
Well, that's another example of his modern art. He's inking it himself.
Okay, that makes sense.
And when Adams is inking himself, you see a lot more shadows, I think, than you do when other people are inking him. I met Neil Adams. He was really nice to me. I got him to sign a Ra's al Ghul trade for my dad. He signed it, "Where the heck are you?" And then wrote my dad's name on it. He was really nice to me. He blitzed the guy who was in front of me in line. The guy who was in front of me in line wanted to know if he had an original copy of his Kryptonite, of the original version of his Kryptonite Nevermore art, instead of Neil had the newer one he had redone. And Neil went off like a volcano on that guy.
Oh, that sounds like Neil.
He didn't know anything about art. He didn't have any taste. I've never had this confirmed, but with the vitriol that he had over it and looking at it, I have always wondered if Al Plastino didn't draw that face over whatever Neil turned in.
I just remember Neil talking about the leg.
Which one is it?
That one.
Thank you.
On my door.
If you look at that one versus this one on the far left, which is more traditionally what he draws Superman looking like, and is definitely the style that I think they were going for when they cast Christopher Reeve, the far left one. But if you look at them side by side, I think I don't know that for sure. It's just a suspicion based on watching a man absolutely erupt over being asked to sell it. I have a suspicion that is an Al Plastino face, and Neil doesn't want to. Neil Adams also had a really big ego.
Yes, he did.
To his podcasts, and I think he probably is not the kind of guy who would. Having Al Plastino draw over your art was kind of a badge of shame at the time. It's one of the reasons why people talk about it with Kirby so much is because it hurt Kirby so bad that they did it without talking to him.
Wow.
So I've always wondered if that isn't what happened with some of these Kryptonite Nevermore covers.
Dang.
I will say this: that cover all the way to the right, I love that cover. It's one of my all-time favorites. Really want to get a T-shirt of it. And with Neil Adams, I very much appreciate what he did for Jerry and Joe.
Yes. That I was going to bring that up. He is the one that championed to get Jerry and Joe's name put back on the book for DC to give them a retirement salary, a pension to be paid out until their death, and to really honor them. He campaigned. He had it running in the papers because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be any of this. And
plus,
awesome.
Wasn't it with Neil's work and everything? That's the reason why they got credited in the opening credits for Superman the movie?
Yeah, it's because that was when that movie was announced. It helped push Superman back into the multimedia zeitgeist. And at that time, Neil Adams was a huge name in comics. He was coming up, and he led that charge. And it's something that he will forever be thanked for by Superman fans. But moving on.
Let me say though,
what's your issue? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and I realized I didn't do one for Darwin Cook, but and I have one for him.
Okay, go back.
Darwin Cook. I want to recommend the New Frontier special. All of New Frontier is incredible, but we're talking about Superman today, and the New Frontier special has the fight between Superman and Batman. That is probably my favorite Superman and Batman fight in comics. Great comic. It's one-shot special that followed the series. From Neil Adams, it couldn't be anything else. It's Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the most beautiful comic ever drawn.
I love that cover.
Definitely the most expensive comic ever drawn.
Yes. All right. We have Jorge Jimenez. More recent stuff. And I love his Superman. And that image that my wife is pointing to, I want that as a flippin' poster. I want that so bad to hang up in my office. I love that image that I'm tearing up just looking and talking about it right now. To me, that image represents everything that I love about Superman.
Yep.
I'm literally tearing up.
Neil Adams.
I love that he's done these covers. I love that he's doing the Batman book now. I love that image of Superman sitting on the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a peaceful image. And I think that's why I love it so much. Is there's, hey, I'm strong, I'm tough, but I'm also a really humble, nice guy. And like I said, that image with him and the kids climbing on him and everything would be my ultimate Superman poster to put up at work.
Oh, I love that. I would love to put that in my daycare.
So
beautiful. I mean, I think he's one of the top 3 artists working in comics right now. DC definitely thinks so. He's getting a ton of work. He's the Batman guy now and the Superman guy. How many artists do you know that were getting frequent work on both characters at the same time?
Right. And the image
in modern times.
And the image all the way to the left, I always thought that was Dan Mora until Tyler created this PDF. I'm like, oh, it's not.
No, we'll talk about Dan here soon.
They worked on that book together, though. There's a reason you think that is that.
And we'll segue right in.
Yeah, for Dan Mora, the Summer of Superman special is the book that I have for him. The other half of which is drawn by Jorge Jimenez. For Jorge Jimenez, I had Superman Annual from 2016. It was in the Rebirth stuff. It's an incredible Superman and Swamp Thing team up.
Oh yeah,
just as easily.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I like you. Go ahead. I'm all excited because I know the book. I'm like, woo, I have that one. I know it.
But I had a really hard time trying to decide which one of those 2 artists I was going to put the Summer of Superman special on. I ended up giving it to Dan. But both of those guys do incredible work in that book.
Yeah, Dan's art is someone's art I've been appreciating a lot in the past year. The more the Summer of Superman stuff we keep on seeing everything, and just seeing plaster on merchandise stuff. It looks so cool and awesome and great. Oops, sorry, what was it?
Yeah, you go ahead. Finish what you said. Sorry.
That, and I learned that he also worked on my favorite era of Power Ranger comics, Go-Go Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah. He's a big fan of all that stuff, and he's doing Transformers right now, too.
I know, it's going to be so great.
His childhood dream. To me, he's the modern Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Dang it, he took it before I could say it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can see it.
You're perfectly fine. I first learned Dan's art through Klaus, the Santa Claus based book he did with Grant Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
That I bought, and I read it every year.
I bought it. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, dude. Well, hey, you read it. We'll review it. We'll whenever, and we'll save it for a Christmas special because it's actually on my list for a special Christmas episode. This year.
I bought it on sale after last Christmas. I'm saving it for next Christmas. So
okay, we're on. We got this. I love Dan's art. Like his Superman, I have just become like I fell in love with it. I mean, I can't.
Yep.
I cannot say any more than just every angle of it is beautiful. And
Yep.
The images I picked, like he was drawing in the regular book. He was doing World's Finest with Mark Waid and everything. There's a beauty, a strength, a humbleness. The proportions are right. I just think that right now, when I think Superman in comics, Dan's art is what comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
His soups is just a hair. It really in World's Finest, just a hair too skinny for me. I feel like what he's been doing on the Joshua Williamson run is more the Superman proportions that I want to see. But I can't knock that it's incredible art. And what's really amazing about him is I don't know that anybody has ever been as good and as fast as Dan Mora is. Dan Mora can do a whole issue in 2 weeks, is what Mark Waid said.
It just feels like he's been trained, like marathoning his entire life.
Didn't Dan also did a variant cover for Superman Batman where he drew the Nicolas Cage Superman?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I think we skipped Steve Rude though.
We do. We're gonna go back.
Okay.
I'm trying to, as I'm thinking of like grouping people like in certain groups as we're going.
I got you.
I'm like trying to hit certain things and then we'll go back. And so Lee Bermejo. Lee Bermejo is one of those artists that does Lee Bermejo's Batman and Lee Bermejo's Superman. I think he's an amazing artist. His art is ridiculous. He is like an edgier Alex Ross.
Yes, that's a
really great way of saying
it. With light and painting, like every year I reread Batman Noel. I think it's wonderful. I do say he does great covers for Superman, but I feel like his Superman's a little bit more too aggressive.
Right.
In the face. And sometimes I think he works better in doing characters like Batman where they're like in a cowl and a mask. But that cover like I have here of him with the cape and Lois, like that cape looks like Spawn's cape.
It does.
But the image of him bending the bars, I love. And then him stopping the bullets in front of children. You can't really see that they're here. And the shirt rip is great. There's one I didn't put on here where it's a kid, because Superman's really small in it, but it's a kid running by the window dressed in a homemade Superman costume that we actually recreated the cover art with Solomon in a photo of him like recreating. But I wanted to bring up Bermejo.
He looks like one of those artists who do trading cards during the 90s.
I can see that. And the thing is about Bermejo, he does mainly covers, except for like certain books. So like, I can't really recommend one because, his Lex Luthor book is that it's Lex Luthor telling a story. So Superman looks evil in the whole story.
Yeah, that's really the only. I usually don't like him on Superman just because it's so dark and so angsty. But I can say that that on that Lex Luthor Man of Steel book, where it is explicitly about Lex Luthor seeing Superman from his point of view, so Superman is a monster. I think that's one place where his style was perfect for the book.
Yes, I agree.
And that is the comic that I picked for my Lee Bermejo recommendation. Favorite part of that comic is when Lex Luthor goes on a big speech with Superman floating outside of his window about how you can't, everybody thinks you're a god, but you can't do this, you can't do that. And one of the things is you can't see my soul. And then Superman doesn't say anything for a minute, and he goes, "You're wrong, Lex. I can see your soul." And he flies away, and it's the scariest thing Superman's ever done. Like,
we got 2 more artists to hit. We're going to hit Daniel Sampere here. I really like what he's been doing with Wonder Woman, and I saw his Superman art, so I wanted to include him. What do you guys think?
Oh, I absolutely love that image of him flying in the right. I actually have that as one of the images on our Amazon Echo right now. So whenever it circles through all the photos we have, whenever I see that image, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. I missed him on my list somehow, but the Philip Kennedy Johnson run that he did, pick a book that has his name on it. That's the recommendation. Sampere's art throughout that was incredible, especially when you got into the Metallo stuff. I love his Metallo design.
Right. And the image to the right, for the longest time, I thought that was a Dan Moore image as well, but I'm still getting used to all the newer artists.
Yeah. Well, especially because there's only a few colorists like Jordi Belair and Bonvillain and working on a lot of different books right now. So I think it does make some of the art look... I think it does muddy some of that, being able to tell the artists apart, because you have so many colorists and inkers working on the same books.
All right.
Tyler, I think at some point we lost your audio.
Yeah, I muted. Sorry. The last one I have is Steve Rudd.
What about Frank Miller?
Nah, I decided not to, because you know what? We're running out of time, and I don't want to bash Frank Miller and someone kill me. So, because I don't
I'll bash Frank Miller. Someone can try to kill me.
Meanwhile, I'm like the person who likes Frank Miller.
I love Frank Miller.
Not as Superman.
Yeah, that's some good, some bad. But yeah, Steve Rude. Did he ever do the cover art for a novel? Like actual novel, not like a graphic
novel. Feels like he would have.
Yeah, because there's that whole Adventures of Superman novel from the 30s they reprinted a few times back. That's what's reminding me.
That's not Steve Rude. Yeah, Steve Rude's he's a 90s guy. He's still working today.
Okay.
He would be, if he had more Superman work, he really only has a couple covers and a couple stories. Mm-hmm. He would be my favorite Superman artist ever. I love the way Steve Rude. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. When I was picking up various variant covers for Action Comics 1000, I had to get that middle cover. I had to. It looks that great.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, my pick for him, if nobody's ever read it, The Incredible Hulk versus Superman. I reviewed it with Kay Sagan on the Man of Steel podcast. It is an absolutely... It is as close to a perfect comic as a perfect comic can be. In my opinion, it's the best company crossover they ever did. And Steve Rude does an absolute masterclass in drawing Superman and the Hulk and blending their two universes together seamlessly. Just an absolutely perfect book. I don't know that anybody uses light as well as Steve Rude does, in my opinion.
Especially that image to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you look at those I-beams, and by God, that looks like it's glowing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, his art style is very pulp magazine heroes. It also helps because I've been reading a lot of pulp comics lately, like The Shadow and whatnot.
So it's time, boys. We won't go into a whole lot, but we'll go around. We'll start with Brad, Junia, Logan, then myself.
Okay,
pick your 3 that you like that speaks to you right now that you're really just coming alive to.
So my all-time favorite artist is actually Alex Ross, but I put him in a separate category because his art's just so different. For me, I would say Jose, because this and the fact it's been used on so much merchandise and everything. Gary Frank, I absolutely love Superman Secret Origin. It's my favorite origin story of Superman of all time. Plus, I just love the way his artwork looks. But
There's two of us!
Yeah.
Well,
But-
I
I'm
love
so
his, I
happy,
love,
Brad.
Hey, I love his
Thanks.
artwork. I just
Fist
think
bump.
his Superman looks too much like he's doing Reeve, but
Oh,
everything
No,
else.
that is
no.
true, but that's one of the reasons I like it too. But my all-time favorite artist is, even though he has an ego, as I now learned, John Byrne. John Byrne. I came because, like, for the longest time, I was having a hard time deciding who my favorite Superman artist was. It wasn't until like last year, being a fan of Superman since 2006, I finally came to the conclusion after reading that run. Like, I'm still not done with the run and everything, but like, I really appreciate his art more and more. And my all-time favorite image of Superman is from the ending of Man of Steel #1, where he's flying the sky saying, "This looks like a job for Superman."
I agree. It's great. Byrne is incredible. I mean, and I don't, whatever his failings as a guy,
Yeah, because
he created the version of Superman that is my favorite character. I think if we still had the Silver and Bronze Age Superman and Superboy living as two different characters with two different personalities, two different supporting casts, my favorite character would either be Superboy, but more likely that just Superman wouldn't be my favorite character if John Byrne hadn't taken those two disparate parts of the character and fused them into one thing. I don't think it can be overstated.
All right, Junia.
Gosh, I feel like there's so many of them that just do such a beautiful job and have different styles. So it's really hard to say, but I'm gonna have to go with. I really liked. Is it Steve Rude or Steve Rudd?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed his artwork, and I think it does remind me a lot of the Alex Ross, but I feel like there's a softer edge to it, and I kind of like the softness brought into Superman. Just in general, I feel like that really shows more of the character. And Jorge Jimenez, I really love all of those, the ones that you showed us, but also the ones that I've seen before of his work is just beautiful with Superman. And then I'm going to go with the classic, the ultimate classic, Schuster.
All right.
Outstanding.
All right.
I mean, we wouldn't have anything if it weren't for him, right? So he set the precedent.
All right, Logan.
Okay. This is tough because really this could be about a 15-way tie for me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. Like, it's close. But if I could only pick three, I'm going Al Plastino because I think that Al Plastino, like I said, I think that he is very underrated, and I think that he has done more good Superman covers than anyone else in history. And if you look at Silver Age art, like, there are a lot of books where Al Plastino did the cover and Kurt Swan did the interiors. And there are a lot of books where Al Plastino did everything. And like I said, I think that his love and care for the character really helped carry it in a way that he doesn't get enough credit for. My number two, by just a hair, is Steve Rude. And I grabbed this. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera. This is a custom Steve Rude action figure. Custom Steve Rude Superman action figure I made myself.
Oh,
I'm
even better. Cool.
I'm a big enough
Good
fan
job.
of Steve Rude. Like, I repainted this head. I printed out this symbol to be Steve Rude Superman, and it sits
What
on
did
my
you
art
use
desk.
for the body base? Like, what figure did you use for that?
It is the Task Force Superman. I took him and I what is the word I'm looking for right now? Nail polish remover, basically. Acetone.
Nice.
I acetoned all that pixely art off because I wanted that dark blue.
Mhm.
And then I used the head off of the Action Comics #1 Superman that McFarlane did to be very geeky for a moment. But that's how big a Steve Rude fan I am. If he had more Superman stories besides World's Finest and Incredible Hulk versus Superman, where he really dug in on the character, he would be my number one. But the guy who I'm picking wins both by how much I love his art, the fact that he is a writer and an artist, that carried the book for a long time.
And it's Frank Miller.
It is Jerry Ordway.
All right.
Absolutely. He had a very, very long run on Adventures of Superman and did incredible things with the character.
Okay. Much like Logan said, I just think there's too many to really decide, but like, what images do I look at now that really excites me? And it's very difficult, but I'm going to go with Jurgens, Rice, and Mora.
In what order?
Any way you want to put it.
Oh, no. Come on. We all did 3-1. You gotta.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Put your feet on the fire.
I'll go Rice, Mora, Jurgens. I'll put Jurgens at number 1 because I feel like he evolved his style. It still feels like Dan Jurgens, but there's always something unique going on. And, art is subjective. That's why we did it the way we did it. And we wanted to talk about the artist and the art more than what's the best, because there is no best. There's just what we prefer. Boys, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We went longer than planned. Good conversation. Junia had to go and take care of Crypto because he was barking his head off. And that means he has to go. So I'll put the links for things in the show notes for everyone. And remember,
look up in the sky!
Thank you for checking out the Krypton Report. Please click our link tree in the show notes to follow us on your favorite social media platform. We have a $1 Patreon, just $1 a month to keep us going. And in return, you get exclusive shows and specials. If you want to join us on an episode, send us an email or message.
Hi, this is David Patrick Wilson. I played Superman, Clark Kent, in the television production of It's a Bird, It's a Plane. Enjoying every minute of being right here on the Krypton Report.